Dampen the spirits or the enthusiasm of fans from Alabama A&M. The gray skies and the rain over the Gray Lady on Graymont Street won't dampen the spirits or the enthusiasm of fans from Alabama A&M or Prairie View A&M as their squads get set to battle for the Eddie Robinson Trophy and the championship of the SWAC coming at you right now. From historic Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, welcome to the 2009 SWAC Championship. Champions of the West, Prairie View A&M about to take the field, and the champions of the East, Alabama A&M, here in Birmingham. We welcome you and thank you very much for joining us. I'm Dave Lamont, joined today by J.C. Pearson and by former pro quarterback Jay Walker. Who, have you ever been this close to a DB in your life?
Not if I could help it. I like to have my wide receiver stay close to the DB, so that's your job today, Dave.
All right, I'll see what I can do about it. Nobody ever got by this guy either during his career. JC, when people think of Prairie View, they probably think of a long losing streak, but that was a long time ago, and this is a different era.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago, but it's remarkable what Coach Henry Frazier and his staff has been able to do in just 6 short years, really taking this program from being a laughingstock to today contending for the SWAC championship. Unbelievable. And on the field, the biggest reason has probably been the play of their quarterback. KJ Black took over in the second half of the second game and has been undefeated as a starter ever since. If they're going to win this championship today, he's going to have to be a big part.
Now, there are some Alabama A&M players, Jay, with rings, and when they won the SWAC in 2006, to get that second ring, who do they turn to?
I think they're going to need their running game to step up. They're starting a freshman quarterback in this contest, but fortunately for the Bulldogs, they've got an all-conference performer in Ulysses Banks. He averaged over 100 yards rushing per game to go along with 7 touchdowns, and the kid is from Birmingham, Alabama. So if they're going to win today, they're going to need Ulysses Banks to play the game of his career.
These teams met earlier in the season, and Prairie View took a 33-27 thriller. We expect nothing less than another great game in mere moments here from Legion Field.
Years of culture and tradition have passed through the hands of those before us. It is now our duty to honor the heritage given to us and uphold it for those next in line.
We on top, never underrated. We on top, never underrated.
We will take the field, and we will be tomorrow's legends. We are the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
One a day Vitacraves, a complete adult multivitamin in a gummy.
And the weather here, not the best in Birmingham, but everybody will muddle through this one. This is a artificial grass surface, and we're expecting rain pretty much throughout the entire afternoon. As conditions are not the best, but these teams have been actually practicing in bad weather in their respective hometowns. Of course, Birmingham not very far from Huntsville. That's where Alabama A&M comes from as they take the field, the Eastern champions. And folks in Prairie View, just outside of Houston, have dealt with some cold rain in the past couple of weeks as well. So really the conditions, I don't know, I'll ask offense and I'll ask defense. Who do you guys think has the advantage here as we show you the series history between these teams, which has an odd quirk to it because Prairie View has won the last 4 meetings. Jay, I'll start with you. As the QB, who has an advantage here?
When you've got these type of elements, you need to have the most balanced type team you can have. And I think the advantage would go to Prairie View. They're a balanced team. They've got the SWAC player of the year at the quarterback position. They've got a good running game as well. They've got a good defense. So because they're the more balanced team, I think they have the advantage where Alabama A&M's a little bit more one-dimensional offensively, I believe.
Well, yeah, in the games with weather like this, you've got to be able to run the football. And the team that runs the football best generally wins in these conditions, but when you're throwing the ball, the advantage definitely goes to the offense because the defensive backs, they tend to slip and slide because they have to react to every cut and movement of the receivers.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that because I've heard people say that, but I've never heard it from a guy who actually had to deal with it before.
It's true, trust me.
And that's one of the things, as a quarterback, we always hear that too, but as a QB, we also have to anticipate giving the guy a little bit more time out of his break. And normally as a quarterback, you want to throw the ball with anticipation before a wide receiver gets out of his break. But when you get these type of slippery conditions, you got to hold on to it a half a second longer, because you hate to have a defensive back get a free interception because the wide receiver slipped coming out of the break.
Do you find you throw the ball differently when it's?
Oh, yes. And anybody tells you they don't, they're lying. You got to squeeze the ball a little bit tighter. You lose a little bit of accuracy there, and you have to use more of a arm slinging motion compared to the flick of the wrist that you're so accustomed to seeing. But give credit to this Prairie View team. We talk about Henry Frazier and the job he's done coaching. I mean, how smart was it for him to realize that it was very cold in Houston, Texas, and he said, hey, we're going to practice in this because we don't know what the weather's going to be like in Birmingham, Alabama. He feels his team is prepared for any weather conditions.
And hopefully the fans are too, because it's not only going to be raining just about every minute of the day here in the Birmingham area, right in the center of Alabama, but it's also going to be, as we showed you, 40 degrees, and that's probably going to be it for the day. And of course, once the skies darken, it'll near the end of the game, it'll even drop another couple of degrees. But the enthusiasm for the Prairie View faithful in particular, guys, as we were leaving our hotel, they had a busload of fans pulling up. I think I've heard anywhere from 13 to 15 busloads of fans representing all parts of the South coming here to root for Prairie View.
Well, it's a much bigger game for Prairie View because they haven't been here. I mean, they haven't won a championship since 1964. For Alabama A&M, when we talked to the head coach Anthony Jones, he said our fans are kind of spoiled because we've been here a number of times. We're here close to campus, and our fans have been kind of spoiled. So he didn't think they'd have a great turnout fan-wise if the weather was raining like it is today.
Let's take a moment and take a look at the Prairie View impact players on the offensive side of the ball. And Prairie View will get the ball first.
You know, let's take a look for Prairie View. You know, hey, they've got Donald Babers, their running back. We talked about Ulysses Banks, but Babers is a great running back as well. Averages 5 yards per carry. And then they've got O.C.A. Dye, the wide receiver. 30 catches on the season. He's a big play wide receiver. Averages 16 yards per catch. You take a look at Alabama A&M and Alabama A&M.
Yeah, defensively, Jeremy Maddox not only leads the SWAC, but leads the entire country in sacks per game. And then on the back end, Corey Morrison, 5 interceptions. Also leads the SWAC in passes defense. So he's a good cover guy back there.
All right, so it'll be Prairie View in the gray. They'll get the football first. Joe Fontenot and Michael Benson back deep. That's Fontenot right there. Benson number 5, and we are ready to begin the SWAC Championship in Birmingham. Pretty short kick. That'll bring Benson up to the 12. If he can get to the edge, made a sweet move there around the 30-yard line. And finally, it's the kicker, Jeremy Lycia, the senior from Ventura, California, who had to shove him out of bounds. But, man, Benson just shifted. What a sweet move.
Yeah, good cut. He's going to try to hit it up inside and then bounce it out to the right. It's really a middle return. But then watch the cut right here. You always have to make a guy miss. A great cut right there. And, again, you see that slippery turf already playing a factor, able to get down the field.
We got hit with a blast of rain. As you take a look at KJ Black, the junior from Louisville, number 1 in the SWAC in pass efficiency, the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. Has rushed for 4 touchdowns in addition to throwing for 19 with just 4 interceptions. And they'll begin with an empty backfield and 3 receivers out to the left. And Black rushed, but found a lane right up the middle, and he makes a nice move around the 40, and Black will get about 16 yards on the first play from scrimmage. Helped up, but not knocked out by that Alabama A&M defense.
And that's what KJ Black brings to this offense, a dual threat. You can see nobody's open, and look at the seam in the middle, just able to pull that ball down and run it. And Jay, you know, as a quarterback, when you're able to make some plays with your legs, puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Defensive coordinator's nightmare. And, you know, he was confused on the coverage there, but he made a quick decision when he decided to run the football, get out of the pocket, pick up positive yardage.
Now the first carry goes to Donald Babers, the junior from the Houston area. 1,000-yard rusher last year, 841 yards coming into this game. And he'll move it down, gain of about 7 there.
Something that's interesting here, the defensive coordinator at Alabama A&M, Bronski Towns, is really trying to confuse this offense for Prairie View A&M. I mean, he's got the middle of the field wide open at times. You see no Bulldog defender further than 8 yards from the line of scrimmage, and then they're bailing. So right now, KJ Black is getting a lot of confusing looks to look at. Looks like the middle of the field is wide open. Let's see if they can attack.
Now you see a safety dropping back there at around the 15-yard line. Black looking left all the way and overthrows Anthony Whedon, who was open. A little slant pattern. Might have been a first down had they been able to connect, so it's now 3rd down and 3.
And Jay, you talked about all the movement defensively, and that's because with Prairie View offensively, they call 2 plays in the huddle or at the line of scrimmage every play. So KJ Black comes to the line of scrimmage and he'll decide whether it's a run or pass depending on what he sees from the defense. So right now the defense is showing him one thing, trying to get him to check into a play, then they drop into something else, hopefully to defend that play.
And Baber's in some trouble. No chance. He'll lose a couple of yards, as a matter of fact. Coming in there, number 49, Afu Okusun, junior from College Park, Maryland. They stole him out of the backyard of the University of Maryland. That's his 70th tackle of the year.
Yeah, good run stuff here by the linebacker corps for Alabama A&M. And Prairie View's running to their strength. They really like to run the football to the left side of the line where they've got 2 all-conference performers, and Tim Tussey and James Deckel. And you see the Alabama A&M Bulldogs weren't fooled. They know where Prairie View likes to run the football, and they did a good job of stuffing on that left side.
Got the College Parks mixed up, actually College Park, Georgia, and they will go for it here on 4th and 5. Faggard, their kicker, his longest is only 39. And this will be way longer than that. So he'll look left again and open, and there's the first down. Inside the 20-yard line is Brandon Bell, a junior from Pompano Beach, Florida, near Fort Lauderdale. So going forward on 4th works. Prairie View now 10 of 15 this year, 4th down conversion.
Now what you're going to see here is, I think with this coverage they're doing, they're trying to disguise it so much. The moment you see that one safety go to the middle, you know you've got some soft coverage on the outside or some man-to-man matchup. So what they decided to do was have a hitch combination called. If the safety leaves out the middle of the field, the corners tend to naturally drop off as well. You need 5 yards, you run a 5-yard hitch. That's like stealing. That's good recognition by the offensive staff.
Yeah, the corner's just too soft out there in coverage. Even if you're press bailing out there, you've got to understand the situation. It's 4th and 5. Typically they're going to run 6 yards, just get enough for the first down. So you've got to understand that and play the situation.
And you see Stoney Owens, the center, having to leave the game. Not to get his hair cut. Obviously, he took care of that before the game, but he might have an equipment problem, so he's out of the game. That brings in Anthony Wilson. Now you've got AJ, different center.
Yeah, and now this is the time where if you're Alabama A&M, you've been showing them the disguise look. They're starting to figure that out. I would actually bring all the pressure now. You've got your back up against the wall, fake like you're going to get out of the coverage and bring a blitz, get some pressure on KJ Black if you can.
That's a different formation now with Michael Jason and Calvin Harris at the running back spots. Black, pocket collapsing, and he is brought down to the 19-yard line. Willie Fuller, a sophomore from Lithonia, Georgia. Sacks, not a problem for Alabama A&M. 43 coming into this game.
Yeah, they get after the quarterback, and that's what Henry Frazier told us, that they had to prepare for the pressure. And KJ Black knew that he was going to get a lot of pressure because that's what Alabama A&M does defensively. He thought they'd be better suited to handle that today because KJ Black has seen them earlier in the year. But again, seeing them and then being able to block it and pick it up is a different thing.
7th sack for Fuller this season. Haven't even mentioned Jeremy Maddox yet in the game. He's got a dozen coming in, number 54 in the maroon and white. Little trouble with a snap, and Black's going to have to improvise. And he'll lose more yardage. This time Maurice Thomas, the corner, came up from his position. That's going to be a loss of about 3 back to the 22. So all of a sudden, after going for it on 4th and getting inside the 20, they're back to about 3rd and 15.
Interesting spin here. You see the bobbled snap there, but you can tell right away that Alabama A&M is going to have to do something to address the mobility of KJ Black. They should have got him in the backfield for easily a 6-yard loss, but he was able to make that first defender miss. And it seems to me early on, if Prairie View's going to move the ball offensively, it's going to come from the legs of KJ Black opposed to his arms until they soften up that defense.
3rd and 15. And Black looking left again, now looking toward the end zone, and he throws it away. The intended receiver was Asaze Ediye. And 4th down again, and this time the 4th and 15. We'll see the field goal unit.
Yeah, too far to go, but Alabama A&M did a great job that time of really disguising a lot of movement, especially in the back end, coverage-wise, showing one coverage, dropping it into another coverage. The question I have with that is sometimes when you try to do too much, you end up confusing yourself and giving up a big play. That time they were able to get a stop.
Getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar, as we like to say, on the offensive side of the ball.
This would match Faggard's longest kick of the season, and he nails it. So he's 7 out of 8 on the year. The junior from Humble, Texas, has no reason to be humble after that field goal. Prairie View was on the board first, 3-0. And these teams met before, guys, and it was interesting talking to both sides about that first meeting because Prairie View, Jay, jumped out to a big lead. And the folks from Alabama A&M feel like, well, we lost that game more than they won it.
Yeah, and that's the interesting chess match you have here, because when you talk to both coaches, you know, the coach at Prairie View said, we had them, we just kind of eased up on them, and that's how they got back in the game. Our kids thought they had clinched the championship. When you talk to Alabama A&M, they said, hey, we figured out what they were doing, and then we started bringing it to them. Now we've got a full 60 minutes to take out what we learned in that game. So very interesting to see who's right.
But that's typically how coaches react, more about themselves than the other team. They don't want to credit the other team so much. It's what we didn't do or what we stopped doing. And that's typical coach speak.
So Prairie View gets that field goal from 39 out. Now you'll see Ulysses Banks, number 17, and Thomas Harris, 81, back deep. There's Banks, average about 23 yards per kick return.
You've got Banks and Harris back. I'm really a big fan of this. Put your best playmakers on the field as many times as possible. Harris is their go-to wide receiver. Banks is their star running back. Hey, let them get as many touches as possible.
And it'll be Banks. We got some decent blocking in this formation here, too. And Banks will get it just shy of the 40-yard line before he is gang tackled. Chris Dingupu, pardon me, from Miami in there. And we'll take a look at the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, the SWAC West champions. And their quarterback, Deontay Mason. Interesting quarterback story here, guys, because Mason was not the #1 quarterback at the start of the season.
The starting quarterback was Kevin Atkins, the junior, but right around that Magic City Classic, Coach Jones and staff and the offensive coordinator, Bruce Pearl, decided to give the freshman a chance. And ever since then, he's responded remarkably. They think he needs to work on his mechanics, but he makes good decisions with the football, which is a plus.
3-1 as a starter, but that one loss was the Prairie View A&M.
He's got Banks and Green in the backfield, and we have flags before this play gets going. And we'll get our first visit today from our referee, Anthony Johnson.
Now, false start on the offense, number 67, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It was a good-looking play, but it comes back.
It seems like they're going to come out with some misdirection early on, and that's unfortunate for Alabama A&M because they had great field position to start off the drive, and you lose 5 yards, and in a championship game like this, yardage and points are going to come at a premium. You're going to need to hold on to as many as you can.
Well, both these teams have struggled in the FCS with penalties. Alabama A&M ranked 100th. Prairie View 118th in penalty yardage. So that's been a problem for both sides all season.
Ooh, that hurts.
And again, wide open as Ulysses Banks gets across midfield, and the ball stripped away by Moses Ellis, but recovered by Deontay Mason, the quarterback.
David, JC, did they just run the same play?
Yes.
I mean,
without the penalty.
And they said, we won't send a guy in motion, but we're going to run the same play. And you see Ulysses Banks, they've got an unblocked defender there for Prairie View A&M in Ronaldo Revelta. If he doesn't get there, this is the big play there. So he makes a cut on the inside.
And it's really just a zone read play, and they're reading Revelta 55. If he stays outside, he just hands it inside to Banks.
They needed 15. They gained 19 on that play. And Mason on the run, breaks the tackle, and he has some room down to the right. First down. And instead of going out of bounds, he runs into Ellis, who's in for his second tackle already. But boy, he had nothing there, guys, absolutely nothing. And he's able to get it all the way down to about the 30, an 18-yard pickup.
This is just a good job of just reacting. You know, you're rolling out there to your left. He sees nothing there. And this is actually when, being a freshman, can be good. I think if he'd have been more seasoned, he probably would have just taken a knee, but he's got those freshman legs. Eyes are wide and glaring, showing some athleticism and getting out the pocket there. And that's the freshman mistake. Get down, son. You've already got your first down. Take a seat before they strip that football from you.
Yeah, and then Devin Nettles, number 92, missed the tackle and looked like he actually slipped on the paint there at midfield and missed that tackle.
That is Charles Austin, a senior from Camden, New Jersey, being tended to by the trainers. Will return to Birmingham with the ball on the 31-yard line in the possession of Alabama A&M. And you see Charles Austin being led off the field by a couple of teammates. 3-0 Prairie View, and Austin. This is a little tough to watch too, by the way, folks. This is so be careful.
Yeah,
here.
just watch the left side of your screen. He's just going to get that left ankle rolled up right there. Ulysses Banks, number 17, just rolls on his left ankle, and that's tough because all of his weight was on that foot and that leg trying to get back to the quarterback.
So he is being tended to. Banks is back in at tailback. 1st and 10 for Alabama A&M on their first drive. They are already at the Prairie View 31, doing it on the ground. Now in the air, caught at the 25-yard line and heading out of bounds right. That should be a first down. Rashad Johnson, bumping into some of our folks who are working this game there, picked up about 11 as we show you impact players beginning with the Alabama A&M offense.
For them, it's going to be Xavier Manuel, the center. They've got to run the football. It all starts with their first-team All-SWAC Conference performer, Xavier Manuel, in the middle. And Thomas Harris, the wide receiver there, the senior, 53 catches, 700-plus yards, 7 touchdowns, first-team All-SWAC.
And defensively for Prairie View, their 2 safeties are their big-time players. Anthony Beck, Chris Adingapu, they show up in the run game as well as in the pass game.
A little reverse this time. This is Harris and makes a nice move at the 10-yard line before finally Anthony Beck, right on cue, JC, stuck a shoulder right in his sternum, but that's going to be a 14-yard gain. Every play has resulted in a first down so far for Alabama A&M.
Well, this is a good job and a good play early in the ball game because the defense is fired up. They're going to swarm to the football. They're going to over pursue. And then you come back with a reverse, and now you have numbers on the backside.
Yeah, how was that? Was that impact player versus impact player? Thomas Harris, the wide receiver for Alabama A&M, taking on the all-conference performer for Prairie View A&M, and that's football. You know, you can't be mad at both guys. 2 good athletes going out there. In that situation, Thomas Harris got the better end of the deal.
So 1st and goal from the 6 for Deontay Mason and this Bulldogs offense.
Fumble.
Well, he just flat dropped the ball. That'll be a loss of about 2, maybe 3. Nothing to that, maybe just a loss of concentration, just long enough to lose the handle.
But that's a good thing because Prairie View defensively weren't aligned right. The slot receiver, there was nobody covering him. So if they could have just gotten the snap, just thrown it to the slot receiver, he was uncovered. Would have been an easy touchdown.
And one of those situations where you see the closer you get to the goal line, offensive linemen tend to try and get a little bit lower, especially at the center position. They get that butt down a little bit, and the freshman quarterback, you've got to know, bend your knees a little bit more, get underneath there to get that snap.
On 2nd and goal from the 9. And Banks will get it down to in between the 1 and 2 yard lines. Adingapu and Beck, the 2 safeties, come up to make the stop. But that means, of course, you're not getting anybody in your front group making any tackles.
Yeah, and that's the problem. But watch how strong Banks runs the ball. Look at him get his pads down, shoulder pads down, yards after initial contact. That's where he first gets hit. Gets hit right there, continues on, gets about 5 extra yards. Now they're inside the 3 yard line.
Well, Banks ran over 1,000 yards coming into this game. A senior from Birmingham who loves playing at Legion Field. Played his high school games here. And he knows his way into the end zone at this field. Touchdown for Alabama A&M. Big block by Charles Meade there, the right guard.
Great patience there by Ulysses Banks there. Knew he had the guard that was pulling from the left side coming around to the right. You'll see big number 56 there on the pull.
And watch the fullback, Roger Smith, right there with that
good
kick out
seal block, and then the patience to allow the pulling guard to come and finish off the job there.
So Jeremy Lycia, who started the game by making the tackle on the opening kickoff, is on for the PAT. And he nails it through. So Alabama A&M, a first down on nearly every play on this drive, and they go in for the lead score so far. This is a better start for them than the last time they played Prairie View when they were down by a lot early.
Oh, thank goodness you're back.
What's going on?
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Miller Lite. There's light beer, and then there's triple hops brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Oh, man. There's your scoring time, but that's not really what's important right now. Since opening in 1958, Dreamland Barbecue has been a favorite to residents and visitors of Alabama. Originally opened in Tuscaloosa by John Big Daddy Bishop, a legendary ribs and sauce can be found at 8 locations around the state, including, of course, in Birmingham. Now, men,
do they deliver?
Right now would be nice.
Can we get an order?
Yes, to go. And actually, we'll take a go box for the 3 of us.
You guys are late. I've already went there as soon as my plane landed.
See, that's selfish right there, though. See, that's an I guy right there. You don't tell us anything. Don't give us a heads up.
Wait a minute. What position did he play in college in the pros?
Yeah. Quarterback take care of everybody. I didn't do my quarterback duties. You guys are correct.
See,
sorry.
If he were an offensive lineman, you would have taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'd have brought the box to him.
Short kick on purpose this time, trying to scramble Prairie View, and they did a pretty good job of handling it around the 30-yard line. That was Michael Jason who had to run up to make the grab. See, a lot of teams willing to sacrifice that field position in order to avoid the big return. In this case, probably a mixed result. And we have a flag. We may have an offsides penalty here. Thought I saw a referee indicate an offsides. He has indicated an offsides. So, will you make him kick again here, guys?
You know, typically that pooch kick is designed, like you said, get the ball up in the air. Sometimes you're able to get your cover guys down there, create a turnover and a fumble, or if the receiving team catches it, normally those up backs are guys not accustomed to handling the ball.
Against the kicking team, 5-yard added to the end of the run, first down.
There's that option as well, and that's the smarter option in this case. And so now the field position quite good for the Eastern champion, the Panthers of Prairie View. They'll begin at the 39. But already, if you look at the score, for those who watched the game earlier in the season between these two, it is a different game. Prairie View led at one point in that game 33-7 before Alabama A&M scored 20 unanswered points. And Black avoided the sack. Might have been a hold there.
Might have. Oh, my goodness.
And here comes a flag, but it's not going to be for holding.
Oh, my goodness. That was a hold up, a mugging, a robbery, put some old stickum on them. How did they not call that?
I don't know. Even I saw that.
I mean, take a look at your screen on the left side. Number 75, right there, Tim Tussey. I mean, look, right when the quarterback breaks, look, he's not letting go of the jersey.
And that was Jeremy Maddox.
Yeah. And then they get a personal foul here at the end of the run.
Marcus Poe is hit with a personal foul penalty, which was the correct call there. And so that will move the football into Alabama A&M territory.
And obviously what they've got to do is they've got to contain KJ Black. They've got to keep him in the pocket. And there's the late hit right there. No question about that. You got to know where that out of bounds line is and pull off, especially a quarterback. But if they can get pressure on the quarterback with just their front 4 and drop 7 guys in coverage, that's the way they want to play defense.
They move Allen, the tight end, and go under center. And that's Babers. He is really quick. Gets it to the 39-yard line and just looked like a jet.
Exciting runner, isn't he? He's got that one of those edge of your seat type runners. Every time he touches the football, you're like, what's he going to do next here? And you'll see, follow the fullback, not there, bounce to the outside, make a guy miss. And all good running backs, JC, they have the ability to get that lean, pick up those extra 3 or 4 yards.
And you always have to make somebody miss because there's always an unblocked defender. And if you can make that guy miss, then you've got a chance to make big plays. And that's what Babers does such a good job of.
And we have whistles. It looked to me as if Alabama A&M changed their look right before the snap, and that might have upset the offensive line a little bit.
And that's what this game doesn't have a rhythm to it just yet. I mean, you got everybody trying to play chess. I'm trying to out scheme you, then you're making adjustments here. I think when you get in a championship game, the key is whichever team gets into their rhythm offensively or defensively first will have the upper hand. And right now, they're just trying to play chess and trying to outsmart each other. Hey, line up, snap the football, and go play football.
And that's what they've got to do offensively. And KJ Black can't be concerned with all the movement.
Yes.
You have to run what they call just stay with it plays. Just call it and let's run it. And that'll settle the defense down, too.
Out in space, never a bad idea to get it to Babers, but he had a lot of maroon and white around him, and another flag comes in after the play is over with. There was contact between two players when the play was over, and very quickly you see Alabama A&M training staff running out on the field also.
They've got to be careful. You see they got a defensive lineman down there, Frank Curse, over there on that sideline, but Jeremy Maddox and those guys over there getting very frustrated. Don't get called for a personal foul on top of the penalty that's already been thrown.
You can see Alabama A&M players upset.
Well, let's see why.
You can see that shot block right there.
Well, the umpire right on the spot with the flag. Jermaine Buford with the shot around the legs of Frank Kearse.
And the thing about, when you
after the play, personal foul, offense, number 51, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. It's going to be third down. Number 51 has been ejected from the ball game.
Wow.
Now that's instant justice right there.
Yeah, that is. Wow, and look, he can't believe it.
Now, all right, is that the correct thing to do? That I thought that was a cheap shot.
Yep. And here's why I say it is, and it's always tough ejecting somebody on a penalty. But if you talk to coaches around the league, and in this game as well, you get Jeremy Maddox that gets all the publicity. He all conference, he's a guy. But around the league, they say that the engine that makes that defense go is number 90. I heard that several times through there, and it seems like a guy went there and just took him out. You can't necessarily do that. And I have to say that was justified. That was a very cheap shot.
I don't know if right off the bat. Now, if you've been warned or some guys on the team, you've had a number of those penalties, but this early in the game, there's emotions, there's intensity. That's an effort penalty. Whether he did it on purpose or not, give him the 15 yards. If it happens again, then you eject the kid. I don't necessarily agree with the ejection right now.
And that is the last moment of his college football career, was that penalty right there.
Yeah.
He's a senior. He is not playing again.
And you can see how upset he is. If he meant to do that and was intentional with it to injure the guy, he wouldn't be as upset as he is right now. So I don't necessarily agree with.
I'd like to see a replay because outside of the classification and everything, when you see the actual play, it looks like, hey, that was a blatant cheap shot. Somebody could have got injured.
Yeah,
suppose it would have been.
Give him the 15 yards though.
What if it had been Curse's last play of the game?
3rd and 18 after all of that. They go underneath. That is Babers again. His ability is just exciting to watch, whether it's a simple little dump-off pass. Henry Crosby finally brought him down. Short of the first down by about 3 yards, so it sets up another 4th and short. Now, Prairie View has gone for it once today and made it under similar circumstances, but Pedro Ventura, the punter, a junior from the Houston area, is going to come out, and that will immediately send Harris back to receive the punt.
And, ongoing now in this ball game, do you flip Maddox to the other side of the field, and now he's faced with a backup right offensive tackle that he can work on, which is huge because they felt good about their 2 tackles being able to block them by themselves. Now they don't have one.
And hold everything. You just wonder, another thing I think I was.
Delay game, offense, number 15, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Jay, when you mentioned there was no real rhythm to this game yet, neither of these teams have played since before Thanksgiving, right? I think the 21st of November was the last time these teams played. And I have to wonder if that is a problem here, and that's a factor.
Yeah, I think it is. That's what you start to see some time off now. Alabama A&M, they've got great rhythm offensively. I think the offense for Prairie View A&M has not found their rhythm yet.
Trying to angle this punt out of bounds and took a left turn. If it took a right turn, it would have been out of bounds at about the 1 or 2 yard line. Instead, it's a touchback, and Alabama A&M successful on their first drive. Their goal was to get on top early. They've done it so far. Well, Oh, don't miss an exciting Saturday night on ESPN. First at 8 Eastern, one player will receive college football's highest honor, the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan. Then at 9 Eastern, catch the next installment of ESPN Films' critically acclaimed 30 for 30, The U, presented by Levi's. The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan, and ESPN Films 30 for 30, The U, presented by Levi's on ESPN Saturday. And as always, you can log on to ESPN.com. With Jay Walker and J.C. Pearson, Dave Lamont, the Rains have returned to Birmingham for the SWAC Championship. Alabama A&M on their second drive. And a little more success for the defense this time. The middle of the defense comes in there. Dalvin Nettles teamed up with Max Century that time. Finally starting to call some guys from the front seven for Prairie View. After that first drive, there wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, and that's what they've got to do. That front seven has to be more active. But if you're Alabama A&M, you have to feel good right now, because remember what they told us. They wanted to play from the lead and see how Prairie View A&M responds, because they haven't trailed very much this year. They wanted to see how they were going to respond to playing from behind as opposed to the lead.
Mason, designed running play. Almost a face mask at the 35-yard line. He's down at the 42. As you see, Quentin Spears in there among the tacklers. Revuelta also in there, but another good run for Mason. Another big chunks of yards. Alabama A&M not just getting 2 and 3, but 15, 16, 17, and so on.
And this is a designed quarterback run, and he does a good job at this. Had 122 yards rushing against Grambling earlier this year. And, you know, he's a big guy, 6'3", 210 pounds. And again, whenever you can have your quarterback as a dual threat, a guy that can make plays with his legs, puts a lot of pressure on that defense.
Looking left all the way, completed the 45-yard line. That is Tony Green, who made one good move to get by the first defender and is brought down into Prairie View territory, the 48 by Anthony Beck. And that should be a first down, and is.
You see Tony Green here starts off as your fullback on the left side, just runs an out pattern. They're not giving him real complicated passing combinations. You get a one-on-one matchup with a fullback / running back against a linebacker. He goes 5 yards, turn around, put the ball on the money. Effective play calling by Alabama A&M. That's what's getting them. They've had great play calling. Now they want to get cute. Go to the line, check with me, all this other stuff. Keep going with what's working.
Roll out pass and skipped it. Trying to get it to Quentin Carlock, and that ball just bounced about 2 or 3 yards in front of him, so it's going to be second down and 10.
And he had a lot of room to run the football also, and that's, you know, what they've got to do. Get this guy moving, move the pocket a little bit, give him a two-way go. If he can throw the ball, if there's an open receiver, go ahead and throw it. And if not, he can continue to try to create with his legs. But for Prairie View defensively, they don't like to play a lot of man coverage. That's not what they do best. They don't have a lot of great cover guys, but they're having to play more man coverage right now because they haven't been able to get pressure on Mason, the quarterback, with just rushing 4 guys.
And they stay on the ground with Banks, and he'll get across the 39-yard line. Quentin Spears in there on the stop, a junior from Montgomery, Texas. One thing about Prairie View and their recruiting is they've started to taste success. They're starting to get more players to stay in the Houston area. They're only about a half hour, 45 minutes, I guess, away from Houston, and that's a fertile recruiting ground.
And that goes to the story of that Prairie View and how they got to be in that Prairie View. The fact that when Coach Frazier first got there, he said, we couldn't recruit a kid in Texas. They knew about our losing. It wasn't worth our while. We had to go out of state. He says now we no longer have to go out of state. We can get in-state talent to stay at home, and that's why we've got a much more competitive product on the field.
Pitch out to Ulysses Banks. He'll have a first down.
Wow.
And a maybe touchdown saving tackle by Adingapu, because if he doesn't flip him, Banks may be gone.
And you take a look there at Coach Frazier there, but right now he's got a problem, JC, and we see from up here, they cannot control the line of scrimmage.
They can't.
I mean, whether it's 4 guys or 6 guys, they're getting a body on a body.
And they're doing it running the ball inside. At that time, they just run the old student body left, the tall sweep. The left tackle, Jamal Johnson-Webb, does a great job of sealing the edge. But this is how Alabama A&M wants to play this game. They're executing their game plan to a T right now. They want to run the ball, win the time of possession battle, and play from the lead, and that's exactly what they're doing. Their goal is 36 minutes of time of possession for this game today.
And a timeout being called here right before the play clock was about to run out.
You know, and they're playing with the lead efficiently. They're playing big football. You know, Prairie View defensive line is not a large defensive line, but the Alabama A&M defensive line is, 300-pounders across the board. And when you've got a lead and you control time of possession and the line of scrimmage, you've got a pretty good formula for winning, I would think.
Exactly. And, and they did this the first time they played. They ran for 191 yards, 3 touchdowns, so they were able to run the ball against Prairie View in the first game.
And in that first game, you see what happened with Donald Babers and wild 113 yards and a touchdown. But at one point, Prairie View had built this enormous lead, taking advantage of mistakes that the Bulldogs made. The Bulldogs caught fire in the fourth quarter. But the interesting thing when you talk to the Prairie View players, they'll admit they relaxed. KJ Black just looked right at me and said, "We relaxed, we let up, we thought we had it." You think you're up 33-7. In your mind, you have it.
Yeah, well, they're playing like they're relaxed again right now because Alabama A&M is taking it to them physically, so they better step up to the challenge.
And there's a little shovel pass. That is Harris. And you get the ball in the hands as flags come flying in again. You get the ball in the hands of your playmakers, and Alabama A&M has done that so far with Banks and with Harris. Let's see what this flag is. Came from the field judge. And that look from Coach Anthony Jones may say all you need to know about this penalty.
Holding on the offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that really gets you upset when you've got wide receivers holding on the outside. Anthony Mitchell there, and no need to hold. They were running an option, zone read option play on the tackle. You got the outside in for Prairie View A&M was in no man's land. He decided to go with the running back, and they did the little underneath pitch there. Great call schematically, and you got a wide receiver holding on the outside.
But Anthony Mitchell, he is the only guy on this Alabama A&M team that has ever beaten Prairie View. Prairie View's beaten them the last 4 years in a row, and he's the only guy on this team that was on the team in 05 when they beat Prairie View.
And he was a big help that day. He had 148 receiving yards. Plenty of time for Mason. And now as he goes down, he's able to get it off. Just missed Carlock. Actually, that would have been a heck of a play, but Devin Boyd came running in to put the heat on Deontay Mason and nearly sacked him.
What you see Alabama A&M running is a bunch of clear out routes with a crossing guy coming underneath. So they really don't want to test the Prairie View defensive backs. That's where the strength of their defense is when you get to the safety. So they're trying to attack the linebackers and the cornerbacks. And every time Alabama A&M drops back to pass, they've got guys running deep and another guy coming underneath the coverage trying to get an easy completion for their freshman quarterback, Deontay Mason.
Banks is back on the field, number 17 for the Bulldogs, the tailback spot. And he'll take it and just falls down. The rains have started again. No gain there. Alabama A&M does have 93 rushing yards in this quarter. But that time you see what this weather is starting to do to the turf.
And he had a hole. This is just this inside zone play. He had a hole coming back to the right. You can see the hole there, but he just slips down. And one of the reasons why they're able to run the ball so well, Jay, you just talked about the safeties playing so deep for Prairie View A&M.
Yes.
So if your 2 safeties are deep, you only have 7 guys in the box to defend the run. So
now
now you can run the ball against 7 guys, and that's what Alabama A&M is doing.
See if Mason decides to go ahead and one more play in the quarter or end it. And there you see his decision. So the second quarter will begin with Alabama A&M in an uncomfortable 3rd down and long, but in a comfortable spot on the scoreboard. They are 1 quarter of the way to a SWAC championship.
Celtic.
Yes, it's not that warm here in middle December in the middle of Alabama. Cold rain hitting Birmingham. Take a look at Anthony Jones. His folks from Huntsville, not that far away. And Henry Frazier, about 13, 14 busloads of folks came from all over the South to root on Prairie View, trying to win their 11th SWAC championship, but they have not been in a postseason appearance since 1963. Mason will throw it. I think he throws from beyond the line of scrimmage. That pass is caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Rashad Johnson, but was he across the line of scrimmage?
I want to say clearly almost.
Yeah.
I mean, all he had to do, he could have run and picked up the first down, but he got a little greedy. He wanted to go for the home run ball, and that's what he decided to do.
Yeah.
Anytime you decide you're going to take that inside route within the tackle, chances are you're close to the line of scrimmage.
Holding.
No.
Yep.
Offense. Number 67. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So that wasn't the problem, the line of scrimmage. The problem was that Jamal Johnson-Webb hung on a little too long to his block.
Johnson-Webb, 67, is the left tackle. You see him working right there. You see that jersey stretch. Easy call there. Whenever you get that jersey, get those hands outside, start stretching those jerseys, they're going to call you. But, man, a big play that was negated for Alabama A&M on that.
36-yard touchdown, wiped out. So it sets up 3rd down and 24.
One down lineman for Prairie View defensively.
This is their wildcat defense.
Yeah, guys moving around, trying to confuse the blocking scheme.
Well, can you confuse Ulysses Banks? He'll take some of the sting out of that penalty and get it to the 33-yard line. Now that brings up 4th down.
This is interesting.
Yep. Well, no, you got to get to the 22.
Yeah.
But still, it's probably too long for Lycée, although Lycée's longest kick is 46 yards, but these are not optimum kicking conditions today.
No. But with the conditions being what they are, you want to play the game of field position also. You try to punt this ball away, pin Prairie View back deep in their own territory, play defense, and then you might get the ball back in great field position.
Yeah, but they're going for the field goal. I think this is a very aggressive call, and not only is the distance going to be a problem, but the wind is just swirling in this stadium right now. So very difficult field goal attempt here.
And it's a fake with Lycée on the field goal. Instead, he has a punt partially blocked. And that ball might have been touched by Prairie View. It was, and they will save it. I think that was Dingaboo. Touched it, saved it at the 13-yard line. Quentin Spears is the one who came in and got a hand on the pooch punt. Everybody take a deep breath.
Yeah. Just the pooch punt here. A Dingaboo, there is no reason that he should come up and touch this ball. You just get away from it, make your poison call and get away from it, because once he touches it, it's a live ball, and they could have easily turned that ball over.
He needed to run all the way back to Miami rather than get anywhere near that ball.
I told you that defensive backs didn't have good hands, Jason. You keep telling me they can catch and hold on to footballs. There's a reason they play DB.
Well, you know what they say. Defensive backs are just wide receivers that can't catch.
Can't catch.
Most of them.
All of them.
I'm not speaking for myself, but
after all that, Prairie View does get the ball at their own 12. And they'll just go to Babers instead. It's never a bad move. He is electric, but there's a flag down. And Willie Fuller on the stop. And a gain of 15 or 16 might not make it in the books. Anthony Johnson, the referee, has been on the air about as much as we have today. He and his crew have been busy.
Holding. Number 89. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's Sean Stevens. Let's not forget, if you're just joining us, that right tackle Jermaine Buford was ejected for what was perceived to be a cheap shot block after a play. So Prairie View playing a man down on the offensive line.
And you know, one thing we haven't seen yet, Dave, is a replay, because we do have replay now for the first time in SWAC play.
So after the penalty, they just go right back to the running game with Babers. You know, I'm beginning to think that might be the only play I would call the rest of the day. Rico Porch on the stop of his safety position.
And I'll give it to you 3 different ways. Babers left, Babers right, and Babers up the middle. And look at the cut. You know, he gets great kick out block there, then throwing some shakes while he's running. Very difficult to bring back. And Babers isn't a big guy, 5'10", about 190 pounds. And when you get those scat back types, the most important thing you can do is slow down their momentum. You know, you got to really just stop them, because if you get them running sideways, they're going to win that battle, because they're very good at making cuts on the dime. So you really got to clog the hole to slow down their momentum.
Well, that hasn't happened yet. Into the air and in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Anthony Whedon sets up 2nd down and 10. Well, if you're just joining us, keep an eye out. Number 13 in the gray and purple today, Donald Babers, the junior from Houston.
Well, we've got 2 all-SWAC conference running backs here in Ulysses Grant Babers, and right now Babers is getting it done on the ground, also coming out of the backfield, making catches as well, showing you why he's an all-conference performer, Mr. Excitement.
Yeah, and what I like about him is his quickness and his speed. He can change directions without slowing down. Plants that foot, changes directions, and he's still 100 miles an hour. And even though he's not a big guy, he runs real tough.
And he'll run a little bit inside where the bigger people are, and right there, Marcus Poe to keep that down to a minimal gain. Nice job by Poe on the end. We have not seen the tackles or the ends making very many plays. That time it's only about a 2-yard pickup, 3rd and 8.
Defensive coordinators love it when interior linemen can make tackles for losses behind the line of scrimmage. Really keeps those offensive linemen off of the linebackers on the second level.
And that's what this team does. 91 tackles for losses on the season, 43 sacks, and a lot of that comes from just the front 4. So those 4 guys can get up the field and create a lot of havoc.
Good protection that time. Well, around the 33-yard line. Osaze Ediai on the catch. He got hammered. Okuson really clobbered him, but he was able to hang on to the football. However, it will not be a 1st down. They're going to be about a yard short.
And here's one of those situations, as receivers and quarterbacks, you have to be able to read the coverage also. If it's zone, you got to be able to sit down in the zones, because if you keep running, you're going to run into the next guy, and that's exactly what they did. Okuson just waiting right in the middle of the field, breaks on the ball.
So Ventura on to punt. That was nearly blocked. Fair catch made at the 36-yard line by Thomas Harris. So good field position again for Alabama A&M. They scored on their first drive. The second drive didn't quite make it. We'll see what happens here in the SWAC Championship. Now, I hope you all don't have any plans, our audience, for halftime, because today we're going to show you both bands. That's right. You're going to see the Marching Maroon and White from Alabama A&M and the Marching Storm from Prairie View A&M. That's coming up at our half. You saw our score and time. And it's Alabama A&M, the SWAC West champions, the record of 7-4, 4-3 in the conference. That was good enough to take their division for Anthony Jones. And they have the football. They go to Ulysses Banks. And he got hit hard to the 38-yard line. Gain of a couple of yards that time.
That's just old school football right there. Just toss sweep. Just toss right, get a good lead kick out block by the fullback. Banks should have stayed outside. If he would have jumped back outside, would have had a much bigger gain.
One of the reasons he wasn't able to is because Prairie View brought a run blitz in there. They brought Cortland Marshall from the outside linebacker position, and they're struggling to control the line of scrimmage. And what do you do when you can't control it with 4-man rush? You got to start bringing bodies, and that's not a good sign to live by. Another run blitz coming.
And a lot of room here for Mason, guys. A little bit better block than he got from Banks, and that might have been a big play. Joshua Mack and Cortland Marshall in and on the stop contained that play very nicely.
Yeah, and it looked like it was really a designed run, like a quarterback sweep, because Ulysses Banks jumped out there and was that lead blocker right out there in front of him. And that's what you do if you start blitzing from inside. The blitz comes from the inside. They just run. This is a design play, just a run outside. They seal the edge. Banks can get a better block out there. Mason's got more room to run, but that's one way you beat that inside blitz.
3rd and 4. Underneath and trying to fit it into Thomas Harris. He first looked at Rashad Johnson, took his deep look first, then went underneath. And it's going to be 4th down and 4, and we'll get a look at Chance Wilson, the punter.
Once again, it seemed as if the A&M offense did a good job of forcing the Prairie View A&M defense to get closer and closer to the line of scrimmage so they could take that deep shot over the top. And once it wasn't there, I'm sure Coach Jones would have rather seen the quarterback take off and run. You only needed 4 yards and pick up the 1st down to keep the drive alive.
Anthony Whedon looking at a ball that's wobbling sideways, and he lets it go. And this time, the Prairie View folks get out of the way, long way away from that punt. and it dies at about the 16-yard line. Well, this week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, the top team in the NFC West, Arizona, led by Larry Fitzgerald, takes on San Francisco. Can Frank Gore lead the 49ers to a win against their division rivals? Cardinals, 49ers on ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins with a Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's at 7 Eastern. They always say it's the Super Bowl losers who have the bad season the next year and the Super Bowl winners who are pretty good. Not working out this year.
You know, I know a lot of talk about Brett Favre, and rightfully so, about an old guy coming back and playing well. Kurt Warner, another old guy, continuing to play very, very well.
Just that he doesn't retire 12 times. That's why we don't talk about it. So KJ Black, under a lot of pressure, calmly delivers a strike to Osaje Ediai, and Ediai gets out to about the 39-yard line. Good pocket presence by Black that time. Kept his cool.
And it was just a nice step up. I mean, you had Jeremy Maddox just wreaking havoc coming on your right side there. Maddox goes up, and he's going to do a spin move back in, but just pocket presence. Just take 2 steps to the middle, find your guy running down the field, deliver the football there. That's what you got to have. Different quarterbacks would have taken off running. He had the poise to just slide step in the pocket.
And that's the thing about quarterbacks. When people hear mobile quarterbacks, they think of the guys that just run. But being able to slide in the pocket, slide to his left, away from the pressure, and then slide up and deliver the ball is good.
After this play, I'll tell you, I think the best ever doing that was, as we see the completion here, and you never thought of him as a mobile quarterback. Probably went down as one of the slowest quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League, but the least sacked quarterback in the National Football League. Dan Marino. I mean, Marino owned that pocket. 1 or 2 steps either way, he was just as quick as everybody.
And that release.
And that release. You weren't getting to him, so.
Trust me, I know.
Hurry up offense this time, and Babers trying to hurry to find a hole. And even with his ability, I tell you what, that's just a great play just to get a couple of yards out of that. Willie Fuller in there again, the sophomore from Lithonia, Georgia. So Babers was scrambling the whole time, trying to use that big body of Tim Tussey, 75, to get somewhere. And Alabama A&M hemmed in on him and stopped him short of the first down.
And you see Prairie View A&M right now, because they know they don't have any rhythm offensively, they're trying to get a number of plays called. So they're kind of stepping on the gas pedal, trying to speed up the tempo, momentum of this football game right now.
Well, the way this game started out, with both teams scoring on their opening drives, you thought we'd be in for a lot of offense, but it has stayed 7-3 for a long while. Pressure from the edges, but good blocking by the line. Another first down for Prairie View. This time Sean Stevens on the receiving end, the leading receiver for this team, coming into the game with 34 catches. And that gets the faithful across from us excited.
And I think they're starting to settle down a little bit offensively. KJ Black starting to find a rhythm, and what they're doing offensively, they're not reacting to what the defense is doing. They're just going out and calling the play. And the other thing that they should do offensively is just go up there and quick snap the ball. That makes the defense have to show exactly what they're going to do.
Maddox, he got away from, and Black, I thought he was out of bounds.
He was.
And let's see, now here's a flag coming in, and what they may call here is illegal participation, because Osaje Ediai was actually out of bounds, came back in to make the catch, and you can't do that.
But the problem starts right from the beginning. But you see his left foot is already out of bounds. And he never really even gets it back in the field of play.
Nope.
That's field awareness. You have to know where you're at.
Good touching. Gets the offense. I'm 82. Lost it down from the previous spot. Second down.
And the officials all over this. You can tell right there, left foot already out of bounds. And once you're out of bounds, you're out of the play. So back it up to the 44-yard line. And it's second down and 10.
And the problem started right from the beginning. Watch the right tackle. Remember, he's the guy replacing Bluford, who got ejected. That's James Blanton. Maddox just ran right by him on the last play, put a lot of pressure on Black. And
Black will just wisely throw this one away.
Did you see that matchup there? Yeah, I mean, he just hit him with a bull rush there. They're going to have a problem there, JC. I mean, you're exactly right. You know, Bland can't get it done. Number 70, the new right tackle for Prairie View A&M, and right now he just got Jeremy Maddox. Just come and watch this. I mean, he's taking this big body and just have a seat, son.
Right.
I don't care if you're 6'7", 340 pounds. I'm getting by you, then getting to the quarterback. And fortunately, Black was drifting away from that.
Yeah, and on the play before that, he just speed rushed right around him. So now if you're Blanton, the right tackle, you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
So, you know, is he going to bull rush me, run over me, run around me? So he's got his hands full. Watch the right tackle.
Flags are down, and they hit underneath. Trying to get to the marker. The ball is loose. Recovered by Alabama A&M at the 32-yard line.
I think they're going to call lining up in the neutral zone. By Preston Nelson, if I saw right. You know, they've been switching, trying to get a body over there on that, on the backup right tackle in there, and it seemed to me like he was about a yard lined up into the neutral zone before the ball was snapped. Yep.
Offside. Defense. Number 94. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
A big break for the Panthers. They'll hang on to the football.
From his alignment, just never took the time to get back. And I understand he's a freshman. Preston Nelson there wants to take advantage, says, hey, we got an opportunity to get some sacks. But look at him right here on the bottom of your screen. He's clearly on the other side there, and they called it on him right away.
And trying to get it as close to Blanton, that right tackle, as he could possibly get to try to speed rush right around him.
Well, penalties have been a factor in this half. Alabama A&M lost a touchdown on a holding penalty. They've lost a fumble recovery on that penalty.
And as well as they've played, I mean, Prairie View's only down by 4 points. You would think that Alabama A&M should have possibly a 2-score lead here, but they have not been able to capitalize on the sluggish start by the Panthers.
Yeah, but this is big for them to be close, because Prairie View normally plays from the front. Their first quarter scoring and first half scoring 159 to 69, so they're used to having big first halves.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by eHarmony.com. Are you ready to fall in love?
You know, we'll see what the halftime rain has an effect on the band. It has an effect on the fans, and you'll see both bands at halftime, and it certainly had an effect in this game. It started out potentially as a very high-scoring game, has settled into a defensive struggle. Both these teams scored on their first possessions. We welcome you to Legion Field in Birmingham for the SWAC title. The Eastern Division champion Prairie View Panthers with the ball now against the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M. And that's spinning for the first down was K.J. Black. Willie Fuller wrapped him up, but not before the Offensive Player of the Year in the SWAC got the first down.
One thing you know about a quarterback that's got a 172 pass efficiency rating, they're not going to make mistakes. They won't hurt themselves. They won't force the ball into coverage. And you see there with K.J. Black just making a good decision. It wasn't there. He was confused on his own coverage. They tuck it in, get the first down. And I don't know an offensive coordinator in the country that gets mad at the quarterback for moving the sticks.
Well, that's the kind of a balance that any offensive coordinator would like to have out of 23 plays. Wide open. First down again for Prairie View. Osaje Ediai on the catch.
Yeah, he's starting to settle down. You can see him starting to get into a rhythm. They're getting to the line of scrimmage, calling the plays a lot faster, getting into a better rhythm. Just going with the plays that are called and not worrying about all the movement defensively. As you see right now, it looks like the middle of the field is wide open, but then they move at the snap.
Pressure and the blitz in trouble there. Black gets away from it to the end zone. Wide open touchdown. Michael Benson.
Talked about all the disguises in coverage. Well, the one time they decide to actually keep the middle of the field wide open, K.J. Black recognizes right away the middle of the field is open, makes this guy miss in the pocket right there, unblocked, great athleticism, step up, nobody within 5 yards Ooh, they left the middle of the field.
And that's the problem when you play zero coverage. That means man on man, no help anywhere. You have to get to the quarterback. And that time, Preston Nelson missed the opportunity.
The PAT is good. That's Benson's first touchdown catch of the season, the 20th touchdown pass for KJ Black, and it's right down the middle of the field. Almost lost the snap, and then he lost Preston Nelson, but he gained 6. A 9-play, 82-yard drive in 3 minutes. Benson with a 21-yard touchdown catch, and KJ Black on that drive, 5 out of 7 for 69 yards and his 20th touchdown pass.
They're very efficient. Take a look here what happened. You got the strong safety, Justin Borden, in no man's land. Anytime you get a wide receiver lined up on the safety, the wide receiver should win. He's got no help. One move to the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like taking candy from a baby,
And you see, the problem is when you have no help, you got to stay inside. And instead of staying inside, he takes that outside fake right there. The middle of the field is wide open. It's an easy throw and an easy catch.
Good recognition. You know, one thing as a quarterback, once you can realize they're going to blitz you and not get to you, then you can feel comfortable because you know you got man-to-man coverage and you just find your best matchup on the field. And good job there by KJ Black and Justin Borden there. Hey, you can't give up the inside when you don't have help there.
And you might be able to see the rain has returned. We've had quite a bit of rain the last 2 or 3 hours here in Birmingham. It'll be with us for the rest of the afternoon. Kickoff taken by Harris. Has some room down the sideline. Makes a nice cutback at the 40 and falls forward to the 42-yard line. So great field position for the Bulldogs. Well, the Alabama A&M philosophy was let's make Prairie View play from behind. Be careful for what you wish for because Prairie View apparently can handle it.
Yeah, and you make it easy when you play defense like that and play so much cover zero. And that's why they told us they don't like to play cover zero. They knew that their cover guys weren't that good. And they said when we do it, we've got to get to the quarterback. Everything worked right except for number 94 was Preston Nelson. He was unblocked, didn't make the play on Black.
I think they need a new name for that. Cover zero just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, and that's what it's always been. That means no help. You better hang on.
And Ulysses Banks gets 8 to about midfield here, so second and short coming up. Under 6.5 minutes remaining. The winner gets the Eddie Robinson Trophy. Of course, coaching legend, one of the greatest of all time at any level of college football. And for Prairie View, we talked a little bit about their history. Yes, that's the Prairie View that lost 80 consecutive games from November of '89 to September of '98. And at one point was actually on partial scholarships from 1996 to 2003. That has all changed. Trying to get to the first down. A good penetration that time by the interior of that line. Quentin Spears from his defensive end position, stopping Banks from reaching the first down. We mentioned how you talk about an up and down program, guys. In the 50s and 60s, this was a dominant football team, and the slide began about 1965-66.
Yeah, they did. What a lot of people don't realize is when they had the longest losing streak in the nation, they weren't giving away scholarships. So they were playing in a conference that gave away scholarships, and they had a bunch of non-scholarship guys. And as the administration made a commitment to football, started to fund the scholarships, then they were able to at least get competitive, and Coach Frazier is taking the program over the top.
And it's going to be a first down for Banks and more as he is finally hurled down by Cortland Marshall, the linebacker, but into Prairie View territory goes the Bulldogs about the 41-yard line. Well, here it is, September 26, 1998. That was the night that Prairie View broke their 80-game losing streak. That's them in the gold helmets. They defeated Langston 14-12 to snap that streak.
They beat the Langston University in Oklahoma. I mean, wow, I just, 80 straight losses. Yeah. I couldn't fathom.
Well, not anymore. And in fact, in this rivalry, they've won the last 4 meetings against the Bulldogs. But never have they played for anything as big as this, as nothing doing that time for Tony Green. Marshall came up with another tackle. This time it wasn't 8 yards deep. It was right around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and running it down from the backside. Watch Cortland Marshall, number 33, come from the backside, right off the edge, unblocked, and is able to make this play, because if he doesn't make that tackle, looks like they might have a big gain over there.
You can see the fullback, Roger Smith, had taken care of his man, JC. Yeah. That's a good point. That was a saving tackle. Loss of a couple there, sets up second down and a dozen. looked at Green, but this was a design for Mason. Flag comes in. Mason will get it to the 39-yard line if it holds up.
Holding. Number 66 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
The only thing that was holding up there, apparently, was one of the linemen for Alabama A&M. That was Jamal Johnson-Webb.
That's almost one of those unexcusable penalties there. You're talking about a quarterback draw. No need to hold. You just find a bunch of double teams on the line of scrimmage. If your man takes an upfield rush, you just pass him off. So mental error there, I like to call that. Even though it's a physical error, mentally you've got to know the play call and the play selection. Let the guy go.
So now, 2nd and 22.
It's time for Tommy Harris to step up and make a play. The big playmaker for Alabama A&M has been quiet, and they like to move him around. He's right there on the slot, standing right on the SWAC logo. See if they can get him in a one-on-one matchup.
And he was open there for a second. He is looking back and begging for the ball. Instead, it goes to the sideline and wide open, caught at the 27-yard line, Rashad Johnson. And Johnson stepped toward the 30, then cut back and got it inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. It looked like a busted play, but somehow it worked out.
Yeah, and a busted coverage. That's the problem. The corner from Prairie View, Moses Ellis, have no idea what he's looking at. He runs to the middle of the field here, can't make a play on anything, and just leaves wide receiver just wide open on the right down the sideline. I mean, it's unbelievable, and that actually was Anthony Beck was the first guy to him, but definitely a blown coverage.
So from 2nd and 22, it's 1st and 10. And they keep it to Banks. Big hole, and Banks will get inside the 15, and he will drag a defender inside the 10. That was a Dingaboo who wrestled him down, but that's a big gain. 13 yards inside the 10, and another first down for a team that has struggled in the red zone coming into the game, guys. They'd only hit 50% for touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, but again, when you only have 7 guys in the box, defensively, Alabama A&M can get a hat on a hat, and now just let a guy like Banks just find a crease and get down the field.
Yeah, I mean, look at that box right now. They've got 6 guys in the box, and now Prairie View's going to adjust and bring in a 7th guy to the box. And A&M called the play earlier, playing around the line of scrimmage again. They could have run against a 6-man front.
Instead, they'll throw toward the end zone, wide open. It is a touchdown. An easy play for Quentin Carlock. His 2nd touchdown catch of the season. We found one way to inspire the Alabama A&M offense. Have Prairie View score.
They call it, it's like the response, right? If they were boxing, they would be considered counter punchers, right?
But again, another blown coverage. I mean, they're trying to play zone here. It looks like they're trying to play cover 2, but nobody drops in the seam. And now it's just an easy throw. Carlock just runs right up the seam, and nobody collapses on him.
So Lycia on for the PAT. And it is again a 4-point lead for Alabama A&M. So Prairie View scores, and the Bulldogs come back. The Panthers score, and the Bulldogs come back again. 2:44 to go, and Prairie View will get the ball with a couple of timeouts. Well, tonight's a huge movie presentation presented by Nissan and ESPN Films. 30 for 30, The U, presented by Levi's on ESPN Saturday. And by the way, guys, you can log on to ESPN.com for more information.
Be a good night of football there. The Heisman Trophy, obviously, that's going to, probably be one of the closest races in history. I'm kind of almost swinging my vote a little bit. I didn't realize now they've got these electronic votes now at the Heisman. So before you had to kind of get it in early by mail. Now it's electronically. You push a button, and there were some impressive performances the weekend before the votes were due. And
okay, you said all that. So who you going with?
Whoa, you put me on the spot. I'm actually going with Toby Gerhart.
Oh,
wow. I thought it was Ingram without question, but I think that Gerhart's going to get there.
I'm sticking with Mark Ingram.
The 15-yard line is Joe Fontenot. Busts through a hole. And again, Lycia got in the way. This time he didn't quite make the tackle, but the kicker for the 2nd time today has had to get in the way to prevent Prairie View from busting a kickoff. So they must have noticed something in film to be able to have success on the kickoffs.
Seems like middle wedge here. Setting it up and getting a body on a body, which is what you want. On special teams and kickoff return, you just run to a color. You run to where you see your colors, the back of the jerseys to go, and you don't see that much red. Good vision there. got to turn on the jets, make a cut, get to the outside, look like J.C. Pearson, take that to the Yeezy.
Yeah, but the thing that he did well is he just hit it.
He did hit it.
You know, when guys back there, they get the ball and they start looking for holes, that's when the coverage unit collapses on you. You have to just be aggressive and hit it, and that's exactly what he did.
Black, a little bit of pressure that time from Maddox. Getting away, Maddox pursuing from the backside, and that pass will be incomplete at around the 28-yard line. Black buying a lot of time, but every step, either Maddox was in his face or coming up right behind him.
But Black still had the poise to read all of his progressions. I mean, he was going to throw to the first choice, wasn't there. The second choice wasn't there. Third choice, he actually scanned the whole field. As a quarterback, you know, you're not supposed to have the ability to do that, especially with Jeremy Maddox breathing down your throat, but calm and cool under pressure. He's got a great poise about him. The transfer, K.J. Black from Western Kentucky.
Now, one thing I noticed they do, guys, with Jeremy Maddox is he's moved around. He doesn't always stay on the same side of the field. Now he's to the right defensive line part for Alabama A&M, number 54. And he's well blocked this time as Black could not get to the edge. What a tackle in the open field by Julius Pruitt. Okay, J. Black came in as number 1 in the SWAC as pass efficiency. He was the offensive player of the year. How's he done?
I think he's done all right. I mean, he's thrown a touchdown. We know he doesn't turn the football over. So for the season, 20 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, and hasn't come close with throwing an interception here today. And started to push on the gas pedal when they need him to make a play. Mobility has been his strength today. They've had difficulty getting to him, and this is an A&M Bulldog defense that prides itself on pressuring the quarterback and getting sacks. They have not been able to get him down. They've gotten to him, but they haven't brought him down.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job, especially making the good decisions, and that's why he comes in as a 71% completion thrower. You see, he can make all the throws.
A wide open Asaje Ediai, and lost the ball. Is he going to be ruled down, or is it going to be ruled a fumble? And the line judge says nope, down.
We'll take a look at this.
Well, you know what? SWAC using replays, JC mentioned in the first quarter for the first time.
And you see Black trying to get everybody lined up and get the snap so they don't have time for a replay.
And hold on just a second. That may be what we're about to get, because the line judge stopped the play. Or was it a timeout? Let's just wait for the referee, Anthony Johnson. We'll take a look at it.
So you got a hit there, and
looks
coming
like
out.
Oh my!
and how smart is Anthony Jones right now to take this timeout and give time to review this play. Now the question is, who recovered the fumble?
Or the challenge the previous play.
Now, again, this is the first time the SWAC has used replay. This was not done it was tested, I guess, during the regular season, but this is the first test of it right now, and the stakes are huge here.
Yeah, and on the FCS level, throughout the regular season, there's no instant replay until you get to the postseason, and only when you get to this part of the season and postseason play. So, good job. I think championships, you want to get all the calls right. And, you know, I think one of the reasons you don't see instant replay on the FCS level is the stadiums aren't equipped for it. You can't get all the camera angles that you need.
And you have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn a call. So
that looked like a fumble, and as we all saw, it was the Alabama A&M defense that fell on the football very quickly. Looked like Corey Morrison, I believe, 34, fell on the ball. There's the hit by Porch.
And it was called down on the field, and you can see there that ball clearly is coming out. So I think they're going to overturn it now. You have to decide who actually recovered the fumble. You have to decide who and where the ball was recovered. You can see Alabama A&M jumps on it immediately.
Is that a textbook tackle? I mean, that was for him. He just helmet right on the ball. Didn't have his head down, just had his helmet on the ball. And I don't care how strong you are, if you get that helmet on the ball, 9 times out of 10, it's coming out.
Wraps up the legs.
Kept his head up.
Arms.
The ball carrier lost possession of the ball prior to hitting the ground. It's a first down, Alabama A&M from the 23-yard line.
Fellas, how'd you guys feel being part of history here in the SWAC conference?
First time ever.
And they were right, and that's the best part about it all.
But the thing is how about Anthony Jones keeping his cool and his poise, understanding that he can challenge because they've never been able to do it before, and does a great job.
Coach Jones is one of those guys, as my mom would say, he's got good stock. You know, he played in the National Football League for Joe Gibbs with the Washington Redskins, and then went on this coaching career with Willie Jeffries, legendary coach at Wichita State and South Carolina State University. Then went out there on his own and has had tremendous success building this Alabama A&M program to a perennial power in the SWAC conference.
He's had 7 winning seasons out of 8 in his tenure with the Bulldogs and 1 SWAC championship. Got a couple of timeouts if he needs them here. So the game's first turnover. And a stick it on the ground, and nice job there by Ulysses Banks. Both the lead running backs here, Babers and Banks. There's different styles, but the results are similar.
Yeah, no question. That's why they're 1 and 2 in the SWAC in rushing, because what we're seeing today, those guys got great body lean, great body control, quickness, lower body strength, can turn short gains into big plays at any time.
Banks already with 97 yards. On the option, Mason. And Tony Green slips as he got to the marker. May have slipped on the marker.
Huntsville, baby. Oh, yeah. We going to shield. Oh, yeah.
And coming up at halftime, the Prairie View A&M marching star. Little talk about the Heisman, and then the Alabama A&M marching maroon and white. And, of course, the guys in New York, Chris, Kirk, and Desmond, will be talking Heisman. So anxious to hear what they have to say about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to halftime myself. The bands, that's a big thing.
Yes, sir.
In these games, and Jay's been telling us all about the bands for 2 days now, so I want to see it.
They never disappoint. They never disappoint. While they take this measurement, we talked Heisman there. You put me on the spot, JC, so you're sticking with Ingram.
Yeah, I'm going with Ingram. I think that he's done a good job. He's been consistent all year against top competition and on the big stage. Last week, the big stage, him and Tebow, Florida, Alabama, and I think he played well, and I think he's going to win it.
But what got me with the point I was making about electronically was the most dominating performance of the last college football weekend was by Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were plenty of people that said, hey, this is the best guy I've seen. And I think those that were going for Gerhardt were going for him all along. You weren't changing them, and you had the battle between Ingram. So that's why I'm thinking there's something fishy in the air.
But, you know, it's really amazing to me. Here we are at Legion Field, where Alabama and Auburn used to play Iron Bowls, and there was a lot of history there with the Bear. That Alabama's never had a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
That amazes me.
That is amazing.
I just can't believe that in their history with the talent they've had there.
But, you know, if it's what it's supposed to be, the best player in the country and the most dominant player, like you said, I think Suh's that guy. Whoa.
Well, we've got whistles here, so come on back, Deontay.
Yeah.
Rejoin your teammates.
Wow.
It was 3rd down and very, very short. And
what was the whistle for, though?
Well, there's a dispute on the spot.
I mean, there was no call. They just blew the whistle.
No flag.
Blew the play dead. I mean, it's not like he was held up or anything. He just shot right through.
I wonder if they're saying that the official possibly didn't have time to set the ball.
Well, they were out of the way, though. Yeah. And the ball was there. Oh, that's strange.
And now we have more whistles.
Another one.
Blow the whistle.
And no flags. Looking around, there's nothing like that. No substitution infractions or anything that I can see. So usually when you have these problems, it's an issue regarding the play clock.
Please reset the game clock to 46 seconds.
There you go. That's the problem. So they're going to add some seconds. There you go. Everybody's happy. And on 3rd and very short, they'll just take the conservative route, stopping the clock for the moment to getting to the 35-yard line. Gain of a couple that time by Mason.
See, and they should have called 2 plays in the huddle. If you know you're going to call quarterback sneak, get the first down, because the clock will stop while they're moving the chains, and to be set, ready to go at the line of scrimmage, where the moment they blow that whistle, the ball should be snapped 2 seconds later. They obviously didn't do that because they're looking to the sideline trying to get a play, and they're letting the seconds tick off.
Under 40. 35 seconds left on the snap, and Mason just takes off. Did he get a first down? Yes, he did, so that will stop the clock again. So Mason able to do it with his legs in a designed play. Still has a timeout. And don't forget Alabama A&M used the timeout to get that replay challenge to get the football back in the first place as the marching maroon and white's ready to go.
Yeah.
Timeout. Alabama A&M. Second charge timeout of the half.
Well, we talked about that Heisman Trophy. Here's a little bit of trivia knowledge for you on the FCS level.
Okay.
All 3 of the major postseason awards are named after members of what conference?
That would be the, well, Buck Buchanan.
Yeah, Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
The Eddie Robinson Award. So it's
SWAC.
The SWAC.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tells you about the history and the lineage of this conference here. When you've got Eddie Robinson, the dean of all coaches, and you got a guy like Steve McNair. You see the number 9 there in tribute to Steve McNair. Classy act by the SWAC to honor him throughout the whole league, not just Alcorn State, but every team wearing the number 9 in honor of the legend.
He was inducted into the SWAC Hall of Fame. His family on hand for a ceremony yesterday in downtown Birmingham. And Mason been tough with his legs and showed his leg strength that time, and that pass intercepted out of bounds. So all of that excitement is incomplete. Ultimately, 20 seconds remaining, as it was Beck who grabbed it, but he was clearly OB.
What do you think the next play call is going to be from Alabama A&M?
Another quarterback draw?
Yeah, when your quarterback gets a little razzled and almost throws an interception 20 seconds to go before the half, all right, we'll go ahead and come out in the second half and fight. I think they'll get real close to the best.
Yeah, especially
selection.
Yeah, especially with the lead. They'd be ecstatic right now to go into halftime with the lead over Prairie View. So they don't want to do anything here. I don't think that can jeopardize that.
And they do inadvertently.
Wow.
Just a straight handoff. The clock will stop with 14 seconds to go, and Quentin Spears has the football, we think, for Prairie View.
They were trying to deflate the football, just run it out as you talked about, JC, and we had discussed. And you can't run your lead play to your running back here, just on the exchange.
You see, he never even gets the ball. It looks like the ball hits him up in the shoulder area. No, hits him right in the chest. He just never.
His hands ready.
Yeah, he didn't. Just never closed in on the ball.
So Spears winds up with the fumble recovery. We've got 14 seconds to go. That's his second fumble recovery on the year, and an honor roll student Spears is. Let's see what KJ Black's plan is. He looked like he was looking pretty deep there initially. He's going to run out of time here in a second. We're down to 5 seconds. And Black gets it to the 41-yard line. The clock will be stopped with 2 seconds on the scoreboard clock here. He did not get a first down.
And that is a bad decision right there, obviously, by KJ Black. You've got to get rid of that ball, understand the situation, know that there's only 20 seconds left. If you don't have anything right now, throw the ball away, stop the clock, and now you can live to run 2-3 more plays. But doing this right here, you're not going to score. You're not going to get in field goal range. Just get the clock stopped.
Well, I guess it'll be everybody into the end zone here.
That's the only chance they have now, just to Hail Mary, throw it up, and hope for the best.
Won't need any more timeouts for Prairie View or Alabama A&M. Henry Frazier not participating. Head coaches tend to stay out of these huddles. Let the coordinators handle this. So KJ Black, he's got Osaje Ediai, Sean Stevens, certainly Anthony Whedon down there, number 1. So they're going to fly 3 receivers from the right side. You always got to be leery of that guy on the left by himself, don't you?
And what you're taught as defensive backs on the back end is just knock the ball down. Don't try to intercept it. Don't tip it around. Knock the ball down.
Toward the end zone, and it's exactly in the J.C. Pearson book of football that there is a flag down on the second eye in Birmingham at the 49-yard line.
Holding on the offense, number 75. Penalty decline, halftime.
I think both coaches are probably happy to get out of the cold rain and to get in there and make their halftime adjustments. But it's Alabama A&M halfway to a SWAC championship, would be their second in this decade. They won this in 2006. The challenge to knock off the team that was 7-0 in the SWAC. And right now, Alabama A&M is halfway there to the Eddie Robinson Trophy. The bands are coming up. Alabama A&M leads Prairie View A&M for the SWAC Championship in the Eddie Robinson Trophy here in Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. And of course, as always with the SWAC, one of the things you certainly think of besides the talented football players are the amazing bands as you look at the marching storm of Prairie View A&M. And don't miss an exciting Saturday night on ESPN. First at 8 Eastern, one player will receive ESPN.com. Now stay tuned for a preview of
years of culture and tradition have passed through the hands of those before us. It is now our duty to honor the heritage given to us and uphold it for those next in line.
We on top, never underrated. We on top, never underrated.
We will take the field, and we will be tomorrow's legends. We are the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
At halftime here, it's Alabama A&M 14-10 over Prairie View A&M. The winner gets the Eddie Robinson Trophy and the SWAC Championship. Well, I hope you enjoyed, appropriately titled, The Marching Storm of Prairie View A&M. Now, it's time for the Marching Maroon and White of Alabama A&M.
Watch closely the death march as it unfolds before your very eyes. Be gentle, Maroon and White, be gentle.
This week on ESPN's Monday Night.
990-8708. That's 1-800-990.
As expected, the bands were magnificent. It's time to get back to the business of football and finding out who's going to win the SWAC Championship and take home the Eddie Robinson Trophy. At halftime here at Legion Field, we've kick Jay Walker out of the booth. Actually, he's down on the field, going to take care of business for us down there. He's J.C. Pearson. I'm Dave Lamont. First half started out, I thought we were going to have a really high-scoring game. It settled into more of a defensive struggle. I'm sure the weather played something into that as well. But what do you take out of that first half?
Well, I don't think either team really got into a rhythm offensively. Alabama A&M ran the ball well. Prairie View threw the ball well. Both defenses started to bend a little bit, had some blown assignments, as we're going to hear Coach Frazier talk about. But I think coming out of the locker room, they've got to establish an identity, and the first team that can do that, I think, is going to win this game.
Let's establish the numbers from the first half. A pretty even, as you would expect a 14-10 game to be. The turnovers all happened very, very late, and penalties certainly been a factor. Alabama A&M lost a touchdown on a penalty and also lost a fumble recovery by their defense on a penalty.
And that's been the biggest thing for them. They just have to play smart, good, sound football. And like you said, the penalties really hurt them in that first half.
Alabama A&M fell behind 3-0, but countered with that touchdown run by Banks. And then Prairie View, down 7-3, got a great play from K.J. Black here, J.C.
Yeah, just the middle of the field was wide open by Alabama A&M, and Black was able to avoid the pressure, step up, and throw that ball for a touchdown to the middle of the field.
However, Deontay Mason, the blown coverage, you talked about one of those things there that's driving everybody crazy. Quentin Carlock, at least driving the Prairie View folks crazy, and probably driving Henry Frazier crazy. He caught up with R.J. Walker moments ago.
All right, guys, you can tell it's chilly out here on the field, but I'm going to brave the elements. Right now, I've got Prairie View A&M head football coach Henry Frazier. Coach Frazier, what'd you tell your team at halftime?
Well, basically, we can't blow coverages in the secondary, and we got to protect the ball security. It's a wet field, and we got to cut down on the penalties. I think if we do those three things, then we got a great chance to win the ball game.
You also had to deal with the ejection of your starting right tackle, Bluford. What adjustments did you make?
Well, we went back to Bland, who started all the last season and started the first half of the season. So, Bland is a starter. He's just going to have to get the job done.
All right, good luck to you in the second half, Coach. Guys, back to you.
All right, Jay, thank you very much, and enjoy the weather down there, by the way, which has been cold and rainy. It was about 40 degrees at kickoff, and Jay will be keeping things real for us down on the field. We mentioned the ejection of Jermaine Bluford. What had happened is in the first quarter, he was ejected for a chop block after a play right in front of the umpire who flagged him for it, and the referee kicked him out of the game. So, unfortunately, Jermaine Bluford's college career ended on that penalty. And if there's ever a game where you're going to need your best tackles when you have to deal with Jeremy Maddox, #1 in the FCS in sacks, it's been today.
Yeah, and they've really tried to work on the backup Blanton also with Maddox, so that'll be a matchup to watch in the second half.
So here's Ulysses Banks taking the kickoff return, and it is well covered by Prairie View A&M. Banks will only get it to the 20-yard line, so Deontay Mason, the freshman quarterback from the Nashville area, took over the starting job from Kevin Atkins. Mason started the last 4 games, won 3 of them, and the only loss on his record was to Prairie View A&M in a game that the Panthers won 33-27, held a 33-7 lead, and nearly lost that game. But that's one of the reasons they are here as the SWAC Eastern champions, or Western champions rather, because they prevailed. So on the ground straight ahead is Banks, and not a whole lot there. Elton Holmes getting an opportunity to play the middle linebacker position, kept that to about a 2-yard gain.
And that was a big play by Holmes, and you can tell right off the bat that they went in Prairie View talking about having to stop the run of Alabama A&M, and that time that front 7 was attacking. As soon as the ball was snapped coming downhill, it made a good play against the run.
Banks had 98 yards in the first half, so he's right at 100. He clears out. And we've seen quite a few of these quarterback draws, and they've been very effective for Deontay Mason. Not quite so much for Black for Prairie View A&M, but Mason has done a great job with his ability to spot where the holes are.
And what happens when you empty the backfield, you also spread out the defense, and now you run that quarterback draw. It's really just an inside zone run play where he can find a hole, pick and choose, and then get down the field, because now the middle of the field is wide open because you just spread everybody out.
Mason's 71 yards on the ground. So Alabama A&M, if you saw those halftime numbers, doing more damage on the ground than in the air. And the opposite is true for the Panthers.
And now you can throw the ball quickly here if you're out of empty sets.
Little middle screen, and that was read very well by the Prairie View defense. Maybe a couple of yards there, and that's going to be about it. Big hit applied there by Dalvin Nettles, number 92.
Yeah, a good job of recognizing the screen. And one way as a defensive lineman that you can recognize, there's two ways. If the lineman just lets you go up the field, you know something's up, so you can think screen. And then if the quarterback just continues to drop, then that tells you he's trying to bait you to come up the field. That time Nettles doesn't bite either one of those tricks and makes the play.
Drifting right. Takes a shot toward the sideline. That is caught. That is Thomas Harris. He had a relatively quiet first half. He is the leading receiver for this team, has over 200 catches in his career. And Jay had mentioned to us, and I know you agree, that I think it would be important for Alabama A&M to get him more involved in the offense.
No question, but they only threw the ball 9 times the entire first half. But when they do throw, they've got to look to him because he's a big play guy. They wanted to really run the ball and control the clock in the first half. But now when you really want to get going, get things going, you've got to be able to be, you can't be one-dimensional. You got to be able to do both things, and Harris is the guy they look to when they throw it.
That's just his second catch, only 17 yards so far.
And he's got single coverage down here at the bottom.
He's number 81 looking in that direction, and instead it's thrown to Johnson, who made a terrific catch. He'll get inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Rashad Johnson.
Again, I talked about single coverage. So you're in man coverage, you just throw the ball. They just run 2 go routes, 2 seam routes. It's man coverage, and you just throw it up. The defender never sees the ball. You can see the defender never turns his head around. That's Moses Ellis, number 6. So if you never find the ball, you're at the mercy of the offensive player. Rashad Johnson does a good job finding the ball.
This drive began for the Bulldogs at their own 20. They're inside the Prairie View 20. Handoff, big hole for Banks. And he gets to about the 12-yard line before Madingapu makes the stop, the safety out of the Miami area. And the flag is down.
Holding on the offense. Number 73, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Now we mentioned penalties plagued both these teams all during the season in FCS penalty yards. Alabama A&M ranked 100th and Prairie View ranked 118th. And that is 10 penalties on Alabama A&M for 70 yards.
Remember, they had that big one in the first half that wiped the touchdown away. Took that off the board, and here they have great field position. They get another big penalty that pushes them back.
Pushed them back all the way to 2nd and 20. Make it 1st and 20. Tony Green, the tailback. And there seemed to be confusion on, I think, on both sides of the ball. The timeout is taken by Alabama A&M. But even the defense looked a little bit uncertain. I thought I caught some of the defenders looking over to the sideline like, what are we supposed to do here, Coach? Hushman Northern is the defensive coordinator for Prairie View. He's up in the booth. Oh, excuse me, he's on the field. And also down on the field would be Jay Walker. Jay, first off, the conditions and what it must feel like down there.
It's very icy. You can tell I'm trying to bundle up as well as I can, but you can kind of get used to it a little bit there. But the field is getting very slick. If these players aren't careful and don't cut off the wrong foot, they're going to do a lot of slipping. And had an opportunity to talk to Coach Jones, and Coach Jones in the driver's seat, he said, if we stop hurting ourselves, this game is ours. He was talking about penalties, and you just saw in the last drive, penalties have been holding back the Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
Yep, 10 for 70. And they're already in 1st and 20. Not already, but looking at 1st and 20. We have another flag down here as that pass is overthrown. It looked like Prairie View might have been offsides. Jameel Lavin in for Charles Alston, who tweaked an ankle. Actually, not tweaked. His ankle got rolled over in a pileup, and he has not returned. So Lavin getting the opportunity to play.
Offside, defense, number 95, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So penalties becoming a dominant factor in this game. That is 5 on the Panthers for 40 yards. So 15 already. Henry Frazier trying to bring a postseason title back to Prairie View. It's been a long time. Crossing the 20-yard line, Ulysses Banks. And you can see Quentin Spears, who has 1 fumble recovery already, number 90 for Prairie View, doing everything he could to try to wrestle the football away from Ulysses Banks. I mentioned a long time for Prairie View. They played in the 1963 NAIA championship game. That was the last time they were in a postseason game, JC. They lost, by the way, to St. John's in Minnesota, 33-27.
It's been a long time, and you know, a remarkable story of how far this program has come to right now being in this SWAC championship game, and testament to Henry Frazier and his entire coaching staff.
And he's kept that staff stable too.
And that's been the biggest thing. Yeah. Same coaches teaching the same things to the kids over and over for the last 5 years. Starting to pay off big time for him.
On 2nd and 6 toward the end zone, looking for Johnson in traffic, knocked away. Into double coverage, but Johnson had a chance to catch that one.
Yeah.
3rd down and 6 coming up.
And you see Johnson pointing up to the sky, meaning throw the ball up, get some air on it, get that ball out of your hands right now, give him a chance to run under the ball. You can see the ball's a little bit late, allows the defender to close. You can see Beck is closing, as well as on the outside.
And DeCorian McGee came in there 42 at the last minute also. So big 3rd down here for a team that converts on average about 38% of them. Whoops. Got your choice here. It looked like they wanted the guard to pull, JC. Just not that soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Yeah, he had his choice of a couple of guys there. But you can see right now, coming out of the locker room, it doesn't seem like the concentration is there. You know, maybe the weather, the cold weather, the rain, you know, guys aren't as focused as they should be, because some of these penalties that are happening shouldn't happen. The offsides, the false starts, things of that nature, especially right now. You can see there's a couple of guys. Jackson, 73, moves. 66, Russell Jackson, he moves also. So they had their pick there.
And hold on, whistles blowing yet again. And this time, Prairie View takes a timeout.
Are we going to say?
Timeout. Prairie View University. First
So the concerned look on Henry Frazier's face. His defense trying to keep Alabama A&M out of the red zone and out of the end zone. There's your score and time here at the SWAC Championship. Alabama A&M facing 3rd and 11 from the Prairie View. You can log on to ESPN.com for more information. So interestingly, both teams have taken a timeout. We haven't even gone through 5 minutes of the 3rd quarter yet. Little room to run. Flag is down yet again. And a 1st down run may get wiped out. We're going to get another holding call.
Yeah, and there was no reason to.
Holding. Offense, number 47. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Roger Smith, the fullback. Watch him, right side of your screen, just pulls the guy down right there. You can see that's an easy call, and there's really no reason to do that because the ball is already outside of you. Yeah. So just make your block, use your body position, and that'll make the block for you. There's no reason to have to pull a guy down there. That, again, is another mental error that leads to a penalty by Alabama A&M.
It takes them out of the red zone, backs them up to the 30. They're 3rd down and 21. We've got unofficially 85 yards and penalties already against the Bulldogs. And Mason on that design draw play gets it inside the 25 to about the 24, maybe the 23-yard line. Quentin Spears in on the stop. So you've got Jeremy Lycia, who is the all-time leading scorer in Alabama A&M history, on try a field goal.
And that's a good play by Mason, fighting off the defender, unblocked defender. You see just the stunt right there, and he's able just to avoid it, get positive yards, and now get them back into field goal range, because prior to that play, they probably would not be kicking the ball.
I see it, 10 out of 17 on the year, this from 41. And you can see that he got that one low and snap hooked it. So 10 out of 18 on the year, and Prairie View holds. And again, penalties, a major factor for Alabama A&M, or I should say against Alabama A&M.
No question, and you can probably attribute 10 points to penalties that have come off the board, because this field goal would have been a lot shorter, a lot more a makeable kick for him. And then again in that first half, the 7 points came off because of a holding.
This might be the final game in the SWAC this season, Jay Walker, but it doesn't mean that the news doesn't stop flowing out of this conference, does it?
Time of year where you get postseason accolades, and unfortunately you got some coaches that won't be returning to their schools next year. The big news is the offensive player of the year is the second team all SWAC quarterback KJ Black. Offensive player of the year, second team all conference, who figures? And on the defensive side of the ball, Grambling defensive end Christian Anthony was the defensive player of the year, fantastic football player. And the dean of the SWAC coaches at Southern University, Pete Richardson, no longer the head coach at Southern University. I'm hearing they've tried to reach out to former Grambling legend Doug Williams. I don't know how that'll work in Baton Rouge. And also, Buddy Pugh was rumored to have this job or be in the hunt. Nah, I think he's staying at South Carolina State. Guys, back to you.
Well, he's got a good thing going there. And by the way, this brings up something interesting from the Prairie View point of view. Is their opinion is if they win this game and win the SWAC, they'll also win the National Black College Championship.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying, and unfortunately for Prairie View A&M, they thought if we have an impressive performance, we can leapfrog South Carolina State. South Carolina State is the #1 ranked team in Black College, with Prairie View at #2. I don't think you can call this an impressive performance unless they pull away late, and they haven't had the ability to do that. They're struggling right now just to win a conference championship title. You can't go for the national championship until you win your own conference. So South Carolina State and those boys in Orangeburg, I think they're feeling pretty comfortable about themselves and their chances of being Black College national champions. What do you all think?
JC, South Carolina State's a good football team. They play some tough teams outside of FCS as well, as we're looking, by the way, at 3rd and 7 after the tackle by Maddox.
And I think if Prairie View has a chance, because that is a poll of voters, they've got to be impressive today in this second half and really open up this ball game. It doesn't look like right now they're able to do that.
But speaking of open, look at the room for Whedon. There wasn't anyone near him when he caught the football, and he will get a first down for Prairie View A&M inside Bulldog territory to about the 44-yard line. Yes, there is no, and hopefully I'll do this correctly, HBCU BCS. It is all voters' opinions when it comes to that. So Michael Jason comes into the tailback spot. There was a 16-yard gain on 3rd down and 7. Bransky Towns, who played at Alabama A&M, actually had 29 interceptions as the defensive coordinator. Can't be happy. Quarterback draw. Black, good footwork. It looked like the field tackled him at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, he just got down. A good job. Play was kind of broken. It was going to be a designed quarterback lead draw, but they kind of ran into each other, so he just tried to find a hole and turn something negative into a positive. You can see just the designed lead draw, quarterback lead, but the running back, Michael Jason, thought he was going to get the ball. So some confusion offensively, but they still get positive yards out of it.
They picked up 5, so 2nd and 5. On a rifle to the 28-yard line, and there's a flag. The pass was incomplete, trying to get it to Sean Stevens. Coverage was pretty tight there, JC. I don't know from here if I saw anything improper. Let's take a look.
They just run this little curl route. That's close.
It's Maurice Thomas on the coverage.
Maurice Thomas, watch his left hand. You see his left hand around the waist as his right hand was trying to strip the ball away, and that's what they got. And anytime from the back end, if the official can see that left arm wrapped around your waist, they're going to get you.
Number 36. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul for an automatic first down.
And there's a definite theme developing here throughout the game. Penalties and Alabama A&M, and what a problem it has been for the Bulldogs. That is penalty number 11, 95 yards. That's Harris in the backfield now. Not much of a gain that time for KJ Black. Preston Nelson in there, freshman from Bessemer, Alabama. Minimal gain, maybe a yard. And Babers into the tailback position now. It's funny, we were looking at the stats, JC, and Babers has only 25 yards, and I thought he'd have about 200 by now, as quick as he has looked and as exciting a player as he is.
Yeah, and only 5 or 6 rushes in that first half. They've got to get him the ball and give him a chance, whether they hand it to him or throw it to him. He's got to touch the ball.
And that pass just simply has to be caught. Dropped at the 16-yard line by Stevens. Sets up 3rd down and about 9. And that time Babers was in the block and then snuck out as a safety valve.
Yeah, and Alabama A&M trying to get some pressure. So they bring the backers inside, but then they void the middle of the field. You can see it's wide open, but the ball just thrown a little bit behind the receiver. Sean Stevens is not able to make that catch, but that's a play that's got to be made.
Wet conditions here in Birmingham. It has been raining almost steadily for about 4 hours and will continue to rain into the night. And cold, as you can see the breath on some of the players as they're breathing heavily under these conditions. Black, plenty of time. It's caught. That's a 1st down and more. Inside the 15 to the 13-yard line, Osaze Ediai.
And the middle of the field is wide open. Now they're keeping a safety deep middle, but the short middle of the field is wide open. They're voiding that zone. And all those linebackers, they're bringing one backer, and then the other guy is shooting outside to the curl, and the middle of the field is wide open. So if Prairie View continues to attack that, they should have a lot of success.
That's Maurice Thomas, who's being tended to by the trainers. A couple of big 3rd down passes by KJ Black also. They've hit 2 huge 3rd downs, have been helped by some penalties to keep this drive alive. They're inside the red zone. There may be a chance to take the lead for the SWAC championship.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Miller Lite. There's light beer, and then there's triple hops brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Paul Simon wanted to go to Graceland. I would like to go to Dreamland. They've been serving folks since 1958. In Tuscaloosa was the original. John Big Daddy Bishop was the proprietor. And now the ribs and sauce can be found in 8 locations around Alabama, including, of course, here in Birmingham, where we are another legendary location at Legion Field. And we're playing for the SWAC championship. Alabama A&M in the maroon and white. Prairie View in the gray with a little purple and gold. And right now it's Prairie View on the march, but they're trailing. To the end zone. And there go more flags. Osaze Ediai was the intended receiver, and Chris Fausch, who just came in from Maurice Thomas, who was injured, was on the coverage, and they'll be hit with a penalty.
And again, that zero coverage where you have no help anywhere, and Fausch gets beat on the slant and has to interfere. It's a good call.
And folks, that's a defensive back who just said that.
Yeah, when it's that obvious, yeah. But the problem is when you're playing zero coverage, you've got to stay inside.
Pass interference, defense, number 26. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line for the 1st down.
Well, they called out Rico Porch's number.
Yeah.
We thought that was Fausch 24.
Yeah, I think it was Fausch 24, but you've got to stay inside, and you can see right there, he lets the receiver get inside of him. And now he's got, the contact happened before there, and it was a good call, but where he got in trouble was he let the receiver jump inside of him.
They go to the ground trying to get into the end zone and did not make it. And now the ball comes out. The officials are coming in saying, no. He was down to the 1-yard line. Brian Christian plugged the play up for Donald Babers. So pretty much no gain, 2nd and goal from the 1. And this is one of these moments in a championship game, JC, now, will you get a big stand here? Or does Prairie View do what most people think they're going to do and punch it in from a yard out?
Yeah, that's what championship football is. You got to dig down right now. If you're an offensive mindset, you got to come off the football and get a yard. And if you're on the defense, you got to say, we've got to reestablish the line of scrimmage, and we've got to make a play, keep them out of the end zone. Again, just zero coverage, man to man.
And a timeout being called for by Prairie View. And they have 1 timeout remaining. We have an entire fourth quarter.
On the offense.
And 4:27.
This is the second charge timeout I have. This is a 30-second timeout.
Remaining in the 3rd quarter. One thing I noticed, JC, I don't know whether they think about it, maybe running just black, trying to get him to the far post or the far pylon, because he's on the right hash. He certainly has the speed to get there.
Yeah, roll him out to the wide side of the field and give him a 2-way go. You know, you run a corner route out there, make the defenders have to stay deep and cover the receivers, and that gives your quarterback room to run.
Well, Jay Walker's been on that field enjoying the mid-December Birmingham weather. What do you got for us, Jay?
Hey, you come down here on field level, you never know what you're going to discover. Look what I stumbled across. This is the championship belt on the Prairie View A&M sideline. You talk about claiming your destiny or what you want. They had this belt made in January. SWAC 2009 champions. You think they claimed it? Kind of stylish, too. Does it go with the outfit? I'm glad I wore brown and tan and a little bit of gold, a little bling-bling. What do you know?
Actually, it's because you have those neutral colors on. It works very well.
Looks like one of those WWE guys.
Oh, yeah, baby. I'm the macho man.
2nd and goal. Babers, he's across. Touchdown. Prairie View takes the lead.
You can hear it right there. That's what it's about. They need that ring, and they want that ring. That's what you have to do when you get down in the red zone. You got to be physical. Can't be fancy. Come off the ball. Try to push the defenders back. They did a good job, got in the end zone.
And now every kick, every little thing becomes important when you're playing for a championship, even something as routine as a PAT, which is handled well. So 17-14 for the Panthers. They have retaken the lead, but every time Prairie View has scored, Alabama A&M has scored on their very next drive. We'll see if that trend continues. And there you see the championship strap that Jay Walker discovered on the Prairie View bench being celebrated over, but Calvin Harris is the man in charge of that. That's confidence.
Yeah, well, everybody has a goal going into the season. That obviously was their goal. They put it out there early, and as the season progressed and you get closer and closer to that goal, now it's right in front of you. You bring that belt down and say, hey, here, this is what we talked about all year long. Now it's right in front of us. Let's go take it.
And Prairie View had a heartbreaking loss last year to Grambling that kept them from getting to this championship game a year ago. It was the only loss they had in the conference. Grambling goes on to win the SWAC in 2008. So that memory lingered for Prairie View. Short kick taken at the 25-yard line by one of the up men. And that's a very good return of about 18 yards to the 43-yard line. So Alabama A&M, we've had 4 consecutive lead changes in this game. That was Kadarius Lacey who picked it up. And that Prairie View drive, by the way, went 76 yards, 10 plays in about 4.5 minutes, and Babers capped it off with a 1-yard touchdown run. So Alabama A&M, at times they've been their own worst enemy with penalties on both sides of the ball. Interference penalties, penalties that have cost them a touchdown, penalties that wiped out a fumble recovery, and that happened in the first half. And penalties that really ruined their last drive that led to a missed field goal. They were inside the 10-yard line at one point on that last drive and were driven back by their own mistakes. Mason. And a clever throw into Prairie View territory, caught by Anthony Mitchell, a senior from Oxford, Mississippi. And that'll be a first down. Nice play there by Mason. I thought he was going to run.
Yeah, it was. And to be a freshman and to keep your poise, normally when young quarterbacks pull the ball down, they're pulling it down to run. But you see, he keeps his eyes up, makes sure he stays behind the line of scrimmage and throws that ball down the field. And that's Shows a lot of poise by Deontay Mason.
And this time he makes the safe play, the handoff to Ulysses Banks, who just runs into a pile of jerseys from both sides. Not much of a gain there, maybe a yard.
You know, and Banks is a guy that, you know, we talked about Babers on the other side having to get more touches. Banks for Alabama A&M has got to get the ball more. He leads the SWAC in rushing. They can throw it to him. He's caught the ball out of the backfield. They've got to get him involved because he's a big play guy. Then that'll open up things on the outside for Thomas Harris, the wide receiver.
17 carries, 110 yards, but not very many yards in the second half. 12, as a matter of fact, that's it. That's Bing, the tight end, and he cannot hang on. Don't forget, we're in wet conditions. We've had a lot of rain in central Alabama, almost the entire state of Alabama covered in rain. So it sets up third down and a long 9 for Alabama A&M.
And when it's cold and it's wet, it's been raining virtually the entire third quarter. It makes it tougher to throw the ball, makes it tougher to catch the ball. So your passing game suffers a bit, and that's why they've got to get Ulysses Banks going a little more in the run game, or just those short screen passes to him.
Mason, there's your screen pass. It's caught by Tony Green. Green will get to the 41-yard line. That's not a first down, but across the way, there is a flag down. And the stadium got real quiet as we're waiting to hear from Anthony Johnson, the referee. Well, he's spending a lot of time talking to the Prairie View sideline. They did not make the first down.
Holding.
Ooh.
On the defense. Number 6. The foul was on the eligible receiver. Therefore, this is an automatic first down.
Moses Ellis caught holding there.
Wow. And then that's on the opposite side of where the play was going. They were running a screen play to the left, and Moses Ellis is on the other side of the field, the far side. So there's really no reason for him to hold over there.
So the change will move. Now, we've talked quite a bit about Alabama A&M hurting themselves with flags. That one really hurts Prairie View because it was going to be fourth down. And it would have been an interesting decision whether Alabama A&M might have gone for it or just tried to punt and play field position.
Oh, no, they would have had to punt the ball. Would have been a bad decision to go for it there in 4th and long. They would have had to play the field position game. But like you said, that was a huge penalty. Now they get a fresh set of downs from the 30.
Been watching the Patriots lately?
Yeah, it hasn't worked out too well for them either.
To the end zone, jump ball, and that's clearly out of bounds. So second down and 10 coming up.
And you know, the thing about Mason, especially on his deep balls, he seems to be a little late on them. He waits for his receiver to get down there, and then he throws it. That allows the defenders time to make up the difference. And you see here, this ball is clearly way out of bounds, but if you're going to throw that ball down the field, you see how his receiver has to stop anyway. You want the receiver to continue to run and run away from the defender on those routes.
He just ran out of room that time. He had the sideline as an extra defender.
And, you know, coming in, passing was not his strength. Only 54% completions, 6 interceptions, only 5 touchdowns. What his strengths are is using his legs and buying some time, making plays and creating.
Looking left, going to the end zone. Good coverage that time by Lester Butler, the cornerback, as they tried to get it into Anthony Mitchell. That was simply one-on-one football, and the defensive back came away with a knockdown.
Yeah, but again, Anthony Mitchell had to stop and come back. And watch Anthony Mitchell, the receiver, has to stop and try to make a play on the ball. You want that ball to be thrown way out in front so that he can continue to run under the ball. And then that doesn't allow the defender, in this case Moses Ellis, a chance to make that play.
So here's third down and 10. can see how Prairie View scrambling their defense around. This is not a player with his hand on the ground, and they appear to be offsides. So this gain to the 25-yard line will be short of the first down. Rashad Johnson made the catch, but it's more than likely going to be an offside penalty on the Panthers, and so it'll be 3rd and 5 instead of 4th down and short. There's the call, officially offside.
Yeah, and sometimes when you try to do too much, you end up tricking yourself. And with Prairie View, they're trying to do a lot defensively, jumping around and trying to confuse the offense and the blocking assignments, but now you confuse some of your own guys and
Offside.
you get guys offsides.
Defense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Let's go to our quarterback on the sidelines. Jay, what about Dante Mason's throwing style?
Two things I'm noticing here. On field level, you see it's not even a 3/4 delivery style. It's almost like a halfway up, a half motion delivery style. And the reactionary time, Jason, you hit it on the head. He is reacting instead of reading his coverages, and that's why those deep throws are late. The wide receivers are getting by these defensive backs by 4 or 5 yards, but he's holding on to the football too long late with his decisions.
His decision here is going to be to run, and that's a wise one as he gets inside the 20-yard line and gets the first down. And that's where Deontay Mason, frankly, has been at his best when he's been running with the football.
Yeah, that's what he does best, is use his legs and be kind of that dual threat guy and not just have to rely on him throwing the ball.
So back inside the red zone, this is where the Bulldogs ran into trouble the last time they had the football. They basically penaltied themselves out of a touchdown opportunity.
And, you know, surprisingly, though, Prairie View has only allowed teams into the red zone 20 times the entire season. So they've been tough, and then once they get there, they've only allowed 11 touchdowns. So field really shrinks, and defensively they tighten up down here.
And you see a good example here as Mason's going to have to run for it. I don't think he planned on it, but he does a great job to get to about the 10, maybe even the 9-yard line. Excellent run. Well, you know, you run that stat, and you throw the fact that coming into the game, Alabama A&M had only hit 50% of touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, and watch him break a couple tackles, and we've seen him do this all game where he's big enough and strong enough to run through guys, especially those arm tackles, and then turns a negative play into something big down the field. And that was a huge play. Even though it only gained 9 yards, it was big because of where they are on the field.
You see Mason's numbers on the day, 9.5 yards per rush. Did not get the first down. Clock under 1:15 in this 3rd quarter. Playing for the Eddie Robinson Trophy, and the 4th timeout called in this quarter. 2 by each side. Well, this week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, the top team in the NFC West, Arizona, led by Larry Fitzgerald, taking on San Francisco. Can Frank Gore lead the 49ers to victory against their division rivals? Cardinals, Niners on ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins with the...
We saw him go on that run last year in the playoffs. And, you know, now is the time of the year where teams really start to separate themselves in the NFL. You got to get on a roll in December and take that into January. You want to get to the Super Bowl. Arizona right now is playing their best football of the year.
Anthony Jones hoping he can get his best football of the year out of his team in the last 16 minutes and 9 seconds of playing time left. He's got 2nd down and about a yard. Haven't seen this formation yet today. That's a hand to Banks inside the 5, and he's gang tackled at about the 3, maybe even the 2-yard line. There's just good old-fashioned football.
Old-fashioned lead play inside, fire off the ball up front, get a hat on a hat, let Ulysses Banks pick a seam, pick a crease, and at 5'11", 200 pounds, he runs tougher than his size. You see that forward leaning, just gets positive yards there.
So 1st and goal, under a minute in this 3rd quarter, and the trend may continue. Every time Prairie View has scored, Alabama A&M has come back on the very next drive. 2 tight end formation this time for the Bulldogs. More power football, a little power defense. Virtually no gain. So 2nd and goal coming up. Banks was wrapped up almost immediately.
And the thing about bunching up, and you've mentioned the formation, how everybody was tight, the 2 tights formation in the wing. When the offense bunches up, the defense bunches up as well, so it makes it tougher to run inside because there's a lot of bodies. You know, I've always believed that if you spread teams out, even if you want to run the ball, well, now you have natural seams, natural creases because there aren't as many bodies in the box per se.
So we will play one quarter to decide the Eddie Robinson Trophy and the SWAC Championship, and Alabama A&M will be in the advantageous position of being 3rd down and goal from the 2-yard line. When we return, championship strap. Prairie View came prepared from Texas. Alabama A&M has the football and a chance to go ahead when we return. So we are a quarter away from determining the SWAC champion to find out whether Prairie View was right to make up a championship belt 11 months ago before the season started. Alabama A&M trying to win their first SWAC championship since 2006, their second in this decade. We only had one touchdown, JC, in that third quarter. It was on the Prairie View A&M drive.
Yeah, you see the ball here to KJ Black, but then the pass interference, and there were a couple of them by Alabama A&M on that particular drive, and just sets up Babers. Just that inside power run gets into the end zone. They take the lead, so they have the ability to come back and put a drive together, even if Alabama A&M gets on the board here.
2nd down and goal from the 2-yard line for Deontay Mason. Out of that 2 tight end formation, no chance, a loss of a yard even. Coming over the top was Jarvis Wilson with a huge hit.
Big play by Wilson. Watch inside. Great job right there initially by number 30. That was Elton Holmes, the linebacker. Watch him fill in the hole right there and then takes on the linebacker, Roger Smith. And that's what stuffs the ball carrier. And now they just clean it up. But Elton Holmes, even though he doesn't get credit for the tackle, was the guy that made the play.
And Banks is out of the game because his helmet got knocked off. And now, because of the situation with the clock almost at 0, Alabama A&M will have to use their final timeout.
And that could be big. It's the start of the 4th quarter.
The look on the face of Anthony Jones says it all. So Alabama A&M used their final timeout as the play clock was down to about a half a second, and able to save the 5-yard penalty. 3rd down and goal from the 3. And JC, look who came back. Look who couldn't take it.
Couldn't take it.
Jay Walk is back in the building.
California guy, not used to the elements out there, had to come back.
Here we go, 3rd and goal. Mason hit once, tried to dive for the end zone, get the football over the goal line. He did not. The officials do not give him the touchdown. Elton Holmes, who's already made one play on this drive defensively, makes another one. And here's where coaches earn the paychecks.
Hey, this is where championships are won. If you want to win the championship, if you can't get a yard in this situation, some people might say, well, maybe you don't deserve to be the SWAC champion. But you see, Mason looks like he is going to be able to get in right here, but a great job by Holmes right there, and just hang on. Wrap up and hang on. You see they keep him just short.
He's hurt and having a problem either with his hand or maybe an ankle. They have 6 seconds to get the play off. They're out of timeouts, and the officials have stopped the clock.
I think they may want to review where his knee was down.
Ah.
The previous place is on the review.
All right, and this is the first time in SWAC history replay has been used. It was used once and correctly. We all agreed in the first half. And boy, look, Coach Frazier is beside himself because he had a great situation. They had no quarterback under center and 6 seconds to get off a snap. To whom?
And that's what he's so animated about. But I mean, he may like this review because when you take a look at the knee's down right now. That ball's clearly about a yard away instead of the maybe 12 inches they've got it marked away now. So this is going to be very interesting where they spot that ball.
Well, I'd say you spotted about 5 inches, 6 inches away, but it's pretty clear that he didn't make it. Now you see afterwards he kind of shoved it across the goal line there, but this is the best shot, I think.
Yeah, he's clearly down. The ball never even crosses the goal line, never even breaks the plane, even when it's down there. So.
You were teasing me a little bit, JC, about coming in the booth, couldn't take it anymore. You know, I'm honest. I'm just not hungry anymore.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It's 4th down.
Is that the same as being soft?
Not soft, but, you know, when you and I, when we were college athletes, you know, we'd run through a brick wall, whether it rain, sleet, or snow. Well, been there, done that. I'm not dumb enough to do it anymore. So I got smart. I come up here where it's warm.
I'll tell you what, I don't want to use the word bailout here, but I'm not talking about now. I'm not talking about you. Well, that too. But what just happened here has saved Alabama A&M possibly from losing yardage or having a disorganized play. They can call an organized play here and get the touchdown.
Oh, this may be reviewed. That was a very quick approach for the touchdown signal.
Signal came from the official at the top of the field, on, ironically, the Prairie View sideline.
And I don't think Mason makes it without the help of Roger Smith. Fullback 47, I think that extra push by him is what allowed Mason to get in.
And I believe this one. Well, you have a new toy, and just like all the people at Christmas time will be playing with their toys, the SWAC's going to play with theirs.
You know, if you consider he needed 6, he's in there pretty quick.
He's in there, that push by Roger Smith.
By Roger Smith. And that's something Smith has been doing all day. He's a traditional fullback. You don't see him like that anymore. He wants to go out there, be a lead blocker, hit people, push. You rarely see that in college football today.
You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, that's illegal.
I hate to be the fly in the ointment here, but you're not really allowed to do that.
No, but very rarely is that called. Remember the Bush push, the SC Notre Dame game where, you know, Matt Leinart got into because of Reggie Bush, and that wasn't called, just like this one wasn't called.
But the key thing, you know, through it all is championship. You know, you got rings on the line that somebody's going to have for the rest of their life. You just want them to get the call right. And that's why I'm a big fan of instant replay. Or is it politically correct to say official review?
Yeah, either way.
Henry Frazier's not a fan of it.
Still upset. Yeah.
Not right now, anyway. And if he could come up to the press box and yell at the replay official, he would.
I think he would come up here and yell at you right now, Dave, if he could.
Yeah, I probably deserve it.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown, Alabama A&M.
All right, now Frazier's going to try to turn that into a positive, and even though the scoreboard is against him, it's interesting. He faced his players and was trying to pump them up, and then turned back to the field and let the referee have one more blast.
Yeah, but that's what a coach is.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Pump up your guys, and you get on the ref, and don't let them worry about it.
That's a big extra point. Alabama A&M, they've done it every single time. Every time Prairie View has scored, Alabama A&M has come back. We got a long way to go before we find out who's taking home the Eddie Robinson Trophy.
EA Sport.
It's not over in Henry Frazier's mind with the referee, Anthony Johnson, still upset about that replay review that really bailed Alabama A&M out of an awful position. We figured out that quarterback Deontay Mason didn't have his shoe. He'd gone back to the sidelines. The play clock is running down. It's 4th down, and they had the clock stopped with about 5 seconds on the play clock. Alabama A&M was nowhere near ready to snap the football. Quarterback wasn't even in position, and the replay review would turn out to be proving the call correct on the field, stopped the clock and allowed Alabama A&M to get organized and get a 4th down touchdown in on a 13-play, 57-yard drive, and they're back in front.
And what he was upset about is how long it took for the replay official to call down. If you're going to replay it, do it right away. Don't wait till there's 5 seconds, 4 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah, those were some unusual circumstances, to say the least, although the call was proven correct on the field. 35-yard line as Michael Jason returns the kick. But a championship game can't be boring, and this has been anything but that. It's been at times erratic, a lot of penalties, some mistakes, of course, from both teams. At the same time, we've seen some good football and the kind of intensity and closeness you hope for when you get to your final game of the season.
I think this proves something that we've always known in sports, that how difficult it is to beat a team twice during the regular season. I mean, you can blow a team out one week, play them at the end of the year. They're a completely different ball squad, and they will give you everything that you can handle.
That's Jay Walker. I'm Dave Lamont, joined by J.C. Pearson and by two flags.
But even in that loss.
Before the snap, false start, offense, number 66, 5-yard penalty, first down.
But even in that loss, when you talk to the coaches, even the Prairie View coaches, Henry Frazier, he said at the end of the game, you could see the confidence that Alabama A&M had in feeling like with the second half they played that they should have won that game. And you take that now into this game, and they came in full of confidence and they're playing well.
Babers, and he gets hit after about a 2-yard gain. He ran right into Afu Okusun. Didn't get much. Second and long coming up.
And the follow-up on that, JC, is the fact that, you know, you're supposed to have home field advantage, and this game was being played at Prairie View A&M. And during the fourth quarter or third quarter, the stadium announcer made an announcement that Arkansas Pine-Bluff had lost, and Prairie View A&M clinched the Western Division of the SWAC. And the players got excited, started celebrating. He was like, hey, we've got a game.
Right.
So he used that one to say, you know, it was a young team. They're not used to having this type of success, and maybe they can learn from it.
Steps away from the pressure, has an open man, and the pass is dropped at the 43-yard line by Michael Benson, who caught a touchdown pass earlier. And that time, I don't know whether he just tried to run without the football, but it's going to be third down and about 14.
Yeah, you've got to concentrate even more in these elements. The ball is wet. It's a little heavy. You can see he just kind of takes his eyes off at the last second. You got to squeeze that ball in there, make a big play. He had an opportunity, obviously, to get a first down, but a whole lot more.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 14. And a little bit, this is taking a long time. There's only 4 seconds to get the snap off. Down to 2, down to 1. Didn't make it.
Vallejo game, offense, number 7, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Oh, for the days of the huddle.
Now, I will say this. Being up here, I can see these coverages pretty easily. You know, JC, you and I, we're sitting here picking them apart. I mean, very easy to recognize. We all can see it. When I was down there looking at this on field level, it's very confusing. I mean, they've got these bodies so close, and we can tell the difference between 8 yards and 15 yards, but down on the field, I mean, KJ Black is looking at a lot of different coverages that are very confusing on field level.
Now he's looking at 3rd and 18. Well, that's a nice throw. That's going to be a first down with Wheaton. 45, 40, down to the 35-yard line. Great throw under pressure by KJ Black, and Anthony Wheaton makes the grab. Rico Porch finally makes the tackle, but that's the biggest play from scrimmage of the night so far for Prairie View.
And I'm not sure that ball was intended for Wheaton. I think he was trying to throw it to someone else, and you can see, watch Babers, number 13, coming across. I think he might have been looking at Babers, and then Wheaton comes in, but it looks like, you know, you never want to have 2 receivers that close together anyway, Jay, and you can attest to that, but somebody looks like they may have drifted a little too far, but it worked out well for them.
Yeah, very poor spacing there. You know, that's what we call the key to having a smooth passing game is having great spacing, guys away from each other so you can widen those throwing lanes.
And there's more unhappiness with the officiating on the Prairie View sideline. This is when you absolutely have to have your poise. I didn't see a flag.
And you're exactly right. I mean, I agree. This is when, as a coach, you got to show leadership. You tell your whole staff, you know what, don't worry about the officials.
Yeah.
Let's keep our calm and go out here and win a football game. You're only down by 4, but when everybody starts yelling and finger pointing, looking for excuses, players pick up on that, and they start to lose hope.
We were told that there was a problem with the chain, and it's been fixed. And that's Wheaton again to the 30-yard line. So Anthony Wheaton, a senior from Stafford, Texas, becoming a force on this drive with back-to-back big catches. Clarence Morris on the defense. That's short of the first down. Second and about 4.
And that's what they've got to do. They've got to take those short throws not look so far down the field because Alabama A&M obviously is playing coverage, trying to stop the deep throws, take the short one.
And Maddox was coming in providing the pressure. That pass incomplete. So here comes a big 3rd down and 4. Clock stop with 11:40 to go. Maddox, number 54, has not picked up a sack, but he's been a force nonetheless.
Maddox plays that position, that rush-in position, where Bronski Towns, the coordinator, likes to put his best defensive end in a position to pursue the quarterback one-on-one. Position I guess a lot of people made famous would know by Robert Mathis. When Robert Mathis was at Alabama A&M his senior year, guess how many sacks he had?
20?
20. Well, you're good.
3rd down and 4. You said the word guess, didn't you? And it's Babers with his quickness, and he'll get a 1st down. To the 24-yard line. The drive stays alive for the Panthers. I'd still like to see him get the ball more often.
He's a tough runner. You can see just this inside lead play. And look at him. Even though he's a little guy, he continues to go forward, fight for extra yards. But he's a guy, he's a playmaker for him. You want him to touch the ball, whether you're handing it to him, throw the ball to him with some screens, get him out in the open space, especially in these conditions. A quick, fast guy like that is tough to bring down. They got to get him involved more.
5'9", 170, but very strong. Pressure here. Under pressure. Black connects. Touchdown! Osaze Ediai on the grab, and back in front go the Panthers.
And Donald Babers steps up and does a great job in picking up the blitzer. And that's when the zero coverage you're bringing in the house, trying to get to the quarterback. Babers at 5'9", 170, does a good job stepping up, picking up a block, gives Black time to throw that ball to Ediai across the middle of the field.
Boy, it is easy to see why Black is the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. 21 touchdown passes this year.
I'd be curious to see, did Babers...
Oh, PAT is blocked. Hold on a second. If this is returned, it's for 2. It will not be. So now Alabama A&M only needs a field goal. Maurice Thomas came in there to knock that one down.
Very interesting there.
Well now. Well, let's go back, JC and Jay, and take a look at the TD.
I'm interested to see if Babers gotten away or did he stuff the blitz?
Yeah,
you see him there, he's coming.
There. That's all
sometimes he's getting away.
That's all you've got to do, because that little bump right there allowed KJ Black enough time and Ediai enough time to separate and run that post and make that completion for a touchdown. You don't have to, as you know, you don't have to go step up in there and knock the guy down. Just get in the way. Just give him time.
But remember this. And there you can see that Thomas had it. Nobody touched it. Morrison tried to pick it up and do something with it, but it was Thomas who came in from the kicker's left, unblocked. And had that been returned, of course, we would have had a tie. That would have been even more fun. With 11:21 to go, cold. You can see the rain now hitting the bands, hitting the fans that are here. 15 busloads of folks came up from all parts of the South to represent for Prairie View, and Alabama A&M didn't have very far to go. Dead north of here is Huntsville, and they brought quite a few of their fans as well, despite the weather that everybody knew was coming. This rain didn't exactly sneak up on us. We knew about it for a week. And again, if you're just joining us, and not to harp on this too much, but every time Prairie View has put points on the board, the next drive, Alabama A&M has come back. Harris on the kick return. A little bit of a hole opening up, and he'll leap out to the 40-yard line. His helmets come off, and the SWAC championship now down to 11-21 before somebody takes home an Eddie Robinson trophy. And let's go back to the play that right before the Alabama A&M touchdown. Look at the play clock to the left. There you see Mason. No shoe. They're out of timeouts. The ball is at the 1-yard line. And we thought for a moment he was being tended to by the trainer. Meantime, the coaches are going, you got to get back out there because we don't have anybody to take a snap.
That was a close one. As you see the time tick by there, I mean, you know, it gets all the way down to the end, and I think the Prairie View coaches were getting excited. Hey, delay game's coming.
Something. I mean, and it ended up being a replay review. The SWAC using replay for the very first time. The clock was stopped right there. A replay happened, and that allowed Alabama A&M to regroup and get their touchdown. That's Tony Green and his best run of the night. Gets it across to the 46-yard line. Green picks up 15 yards. Revuelta in on the stop. Wheel linebacker, they call it here for the Panthers. But that's a first down for Alabama A&M. Now taking plenty of time. That's part of the spread offense. Line them up and then get your play. And I don't know if that's how they drew that one up. However, again, Mason, such a good runner, ad-libbed his way for about a 4-yard gain. Revuelta and Spears in on the stop.
So much misdirection there. The defense couldn't even keep up with the football. It was a good job of containing. They made sure that both running backs weren't getting outside of the pocket, but the quarterback held on to the football.
Mason now over 100 yards rushing. He has 102. Looking to the sideline, going down deep, trying to get it to Harris, who jumps up and is well defended that time. Moses Ellis with him every step of the way. Brings up 3rd down and 6.
That's when you got to put that ball out there. Still waiting.
Yep.
Not a lot of trajectory on it. Look at the angle. I mean, the ball never leaves your screen. You got to put that ball like you want to drop it down the chimney. Allow Tommy Harris to go and run underneath the football. Let him run.
But a great job, too, by Moses Ellis playing the ball, gets his head around, makes a play on the ball, but again, allowed to do that because that ball is underthrown.
Down to 5 to get the snap off. Delayed blitz coming from the safety position, and Beck knocked it out. It was Beck on the blitz who forced the fumble. It belongs to Prairie View.
That wasn't even a delayed safety blitz. It just took forever to get there.
That was a different time zone he came from. Spears winds up with his 2nd fumble recovery of the night.
Wow. He got a running start from about 15 yards away and still got there.
We'd not be able to find him on our screens here. Here he is.
I mean, that's him right there on the 30, right around the 30-yard line. And then you'll see him coming up. 12 yards back when the ball snapped.
And just jogs. Is able to get through there and knock that ball out, and then Tony Green's not able to hustle over there and get it.
Flags are down. And Babers is too. Maybe gained a yard. We'll see what the penalty is.
Offside, defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
13th penalty on the Bulldogs.
And that's not how you win championships. You got to play smart. You got to be physical. You got to be tough. And 13 penalties, that's not playing smart.
And we always say that defense wins championships, or at least you defensive guys say that. But right now, Alabama A&M, I think it's imperative that they do not allow Prairie View to come away with more than a field goal attempt. I don't know if they have enough offense to come back from being down 2 scores.
Babers, he was hit right away. That play was snuffed out by Willie Fuller coming in from his linebacker position. No gain, might have even lost a little bit of real estate, so it's going to be 2nd down.
Yeah, and they're back to that chess match of playing cover 0 on rundowns and then hoping that Prairie View doesn't throw the ball again, because they've beaten that coverage all day long. But now it's just back to that chess match of, can we run this blitz when they run the ball, tackle them for no loss, or hopefully they don't pass it when you're trying to run blitz them.
That's living dangerously, because you got a quarterback in KJ Black who doesn't even know what an interception looks like.
Right, and that's what's killed them today. And now they're playing coverage.
Black's only had 4 interceptions all season against 21 touchdown passes, counting 2 today. Hit after he throws, but he hung in there and delivered the strike to the 40-yard line. It will not be a first down, but Sean Stevens made a nice catch. Black took a big hit after the throw, but a clean hit. So it sets up an important 3rd down and short.
And that's what they haven't been able to do. You're going to see the blitz come from the left side of the screen. When they have blitz, they haven't been able to get to the quarterback consistently, and that's what you have to do. If you're going to bring everybody, somebody's got to win, and nobody's been winning up front.
It was Henry Crosby who came in just about a step late. 3rd down and 3. Pressure. But Black stayed in there and delivers a first down pass. The 35-yard line caught by Brandon Bell.
KJ Black has something that you just can't teach. I mean, he's got a natural clock. You know, and by that I mean he knows how much time exactly he has to get rid of the football. He's got a good feel for the pressure. If they're bringing the blitz, whether it's coming from the back, blind side, or right in his face, he knows how much time he has to get rid of the football, and he delivers it, and he expects his wide receivers to come through.
And watch the middle of the field, because Alabama A&M is starting to gamble.
They're getting greedy, aren't they?
They're starting to gamble, and they're leaving those guys out in coverage with no help again. So beware of the middle of the field for Prairie View.
Instead, it's Babers quickly getting through a hole, getting inside the 25-yard line, down to the 23, and that'll be another first down. And that is about the only way the clock will ever stop for Alabama A&M, ironically, is if their defense allows a first down. Fuller on the stop, or of course if a play goes out of bounds, because Alabama A&M's out of timeouts.
Just a lead. Devin Brown, 40 to fullback. A great job coming in, leading and taking on the linebacker. And then with a guy like Babers, who's tough to see in all that traffic at 5'9", next thing you know, he's at the second level.
The other thing I like that KJ Black is doing is he's taking that play clock down to single digits, down to 4 and down to 5, and using his friend, the clock. Babers provides a block on the blitz. Wheaton's wide open. One-on-one for the end zone. He'll score!
I'm becoming a big fan of KJ Black. I mean, great decision making, poise, stands tough in the pocket, always has the ability to find the guy that's open.
Yeah, and they got beat again. Zero coverage. They just ran a rub route, which is a man-to-man route. They picked the guy off. Wheaton's wide open.
22-yard touchdown. The last PAT by Faggard was blocked. This one he chips right through. And that was a big one. It gives Prairie View a 9-point lead. So Alabama A&M pays for their second turnover as Anthony Wheaton takes it in the end zone. Prairie View up by 9.
Years of culture and tradition have passed through the hands of those before us. It is now our duty to honor the heritage given to us and uphold it for those next in line.
We on top, never underrated. We on top, never underrated.
We will take the field, and we will be tomorrow's legends. We are the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
And the rain comes down harder, but Prairie View A&M gets closer to the SWAC Championship and the Eddie Robinson Trophy. And this is the 7th different player, Anthony Wheaton, by the way, to score a touchdown today. 5 plays, 53 yards, set up by the fumble recovery.
Take a look at this little rub here. You'll see Corey Morrison goes right on the hash mark, number 34. He's the nickel back, and what they're going to try and do is he's going to take anything that breaks to the inside, and then the other cornerback goes on the outside. Well, they get a little rub action there with a slot receiver. Did a great job of running, having 2 people to cover him. What do we mean by that? We call it run to be covered. Take a look left side of your screen. He's going to come in right when he tries to make the break. Oh no, there's another wide receiver there. Good job. Not give credit to Wheaton for making a touchdown grab, but I like the outstanding job with the clear out. But we call that running to be covered. Take 2 guys to guard you, 1-on-1 or 1-on-nothing on the outside, touchdown.
And Corey Morrison in the corner, he's got to recognize the route combination quicker. He's running up the field, allows Whedon to just come and run that out route. He doesn't have time to react.
Now, I always wonder, JC, when you guys are in that situation as defensive back, you guys make a switch call there, or is there some type of verbal communication they can say?
It's built in. It should be built in. If you got to do it on the run, it's never going to happen because things happen too quickly on the field.
This is Harris getting out to the 41-yard line, maybe the 40 they'll stop him at here. So here's an Alabama A&M team that needs 2 scores, 6:54 to do it, and they are out of timeouts.
We talked about that's why I thought that last drive was so crucial, that they hold them to at least a field goal rather than, being so aggressive on the defensive side, trying to give up the big play. I thought if you hold them to a field goal, you can drive down the field and score. I just don't know if they got the firepower now, especially with the elements starting to come in place to score twice.
Well, they're going to have to do it in a hurry.
And it seems to be raining harder than it has at any time during the day, too. It's even hard to see the skyline of downtown Birmingham, and that's just over the other end of the stadium where we're at. This has always been a good call for Alabama A&M, having Mason hang on to the football. And he got belted down by Anthony Beck, the fine, strong safety, playing his final game as a member of the Panthers. Senior out of Houston.
And if you're Prairie View defensively, you're going to keep those safeties deep. Make sure you don't give up anything deep quickly and early. You want to make them have to put 7, 8, 9 plays together in order to score. You don't want to give up anything easy. Allow them to get back in this game.
And lots of whistles. Everybody sort of stopped, and then everybody, I can't understand. I thought I heard whistles on the far sideline, on the Prairie View A&M sideline. Clock stop with 6:33 to go. These SWAC officials have worked very hard today. And it seems to be an issue with the clock, obviously. And they've been worked hard, too.
Please reset the game clock to 6:39.
All right, we'll get 6 additional seconds on the clock. And Henry Frazier so close to, and I guess if Prairie View does hang on, that you talk about completing a story, that really would.
Very similar to the Temple story on the FBS level.
Mm-hmm.
Except that Temple hasn't won a conference championship.
No, and you can think as Mason gets out of bounds at the 39-yard line, I also think of SMU making a bowl game. June Jones, in fact, going back to Hawaii. That was a program that was dead, literally.
That was a big one there. I mean, he did a good job of reviving that program. But, I mean, Temple had it so close. It was in their grasp.
Yeah.
You've got to finish. And had they beat Villanova to start the season, this was a team that could have won 11-1 instead.
Al Golden, great job out there.
Second down and short. It's Carlock in motion. Mason got blasted by Spears. We'll make that Elton Holmes, number 30, who came in, not 90, but 30 who came in, and then forced a short pass. Jay, when you see a guy coming right at you like that, it's not easy to get rid of the ball properly.
Well, no, I mean, you lose accuracy a little bit, but the key is you just want to give your receiver an opportunity to make the catch, and that's a perfect example between the difference between Mason and Black. Black knows he's going to get hit anyway, might as well complete the pass. Just because you throw the ball, don't think they're not going to hit you. So Black is more seasoned at it. He anticipates better. Mason reacts and forces a throw and loses his accuracy.
But he does run the football well into a crowd. And this may have to measure this one. He had to get to the 37. The head linesman comes out and stands on the 37-yard line. Mason, this is just his 5th start. He took over midway through the season. Kevin Atkins just wasn't playing up to the coach's expectations. And they will stop the clock to measure with 5:55 remaining in the game. That'll give Alabama A&M time to consult the charts, Anthony Jones's book that he carries with him.
And they should be talking right now about calling a number of plays right now. 2 plays. This is what we want to do. This is his chance right now to use it as one of his timeouts and to convey to his quarterback what he wants to get done in the rest of that offense. And You know, those guys are just standing out there waiting for the measurement. They should be strategizing, figuring out what they're going to do.
And normally it's the time you'd be on the headset saying, all right, give me the best 2 plays to the offensive coordinators. Well, one of the things Coach Jones does is he's actually the play caller. They've got an offensive coordinator in Coach Pearl, but Jones calls the plays here. So I think you could almost set them up, you know, call it a little setup down here. Say, hey, let's set them up. Let's maybe come with a hard run play here, then follow that up with a hard play action pass right after, because they still do have to score quickly.
First down and 10. And the clock starts again. Plenty of time, this time for Mason. Now he's flushed and completes it to the 31-yard line and out for another first down. Torrey Smith with his first catch of the day.
So now you got to get them going. You know, they're acting a little bit too lackadaisical. They need to be in 2-minute offense, not no huddle, but 2-minute offense with 5 minutes to go. Get plays called up to the line of scrimmage, rapid fire.
As soon as they wind the clock, the ball should be snapped.
To the middle of the field, a high pass, almost a great catch by Carlock. He laid out all the way for it, but it's going to be incomplete. Second down and 10 coming up.
And that lets me know right there, he's not necessarily reading coverages like he should be. You know, when you're going to throw that seam route, you've got to stick it in there. You know, this is not a throw where you put any arch on it. That's got to be a low line drive, laser beam throw to get it in there. And he didn't get that throw in there, so he's thinking he's got more room in the end zone than he does. You got to actually stick that ball right on him.
No pressure. Same play. And touchdown. Wow, what a catch by Carlock.
Tells you what I know, because he made the exact same throw.
Yeah, he did. But what he did this time is he looked the safety off. It looked like he pumped the ball to the left and then came back to the seam on the right.
And he almost got set up by that cornerback playing that little, what do they call that, sloth coverage a little bit, where you come off of your guy and you go into the seam. And number 6, Moses Ellis, almost got there.
Yeah, he did. But watch him look to the left right there. Just that little bit held back number 2. And now you see him coming back into the screen late. He doesn't have enough time to get back to that seam route.
Yeah. And that's the one where, you know, if he's anticipating a little bit, you look hard left and you come back and you stick it to the right. He was very fortunate that Ellis didn't get back in there to make that play.
And the replay official has buzzed down. He wants to make sure that Quentin Carlock held on to the ball when he hit the ground. There's our 4th stoppage. Let's take a look. Uh-oh, fellas, what do you think?
He's got it. If the ground can't cause a fumble, he grabbed it.
His hands looks like they're still under the ball there.
What about when it slipped toward his belt, though?
Well,
so that's the ground that does. He's got it there.
His forearms are under the ball.
We go back to the first look right here. But watch here.
Yes. Arms under the ball, but the ball never touches the ground.
Okay.
It's in his stomach. It can come loose, but he regains control, and the ball, to me, never touches the ground. And again, it was ruled a touchdown, so it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it. And I don't know if that's going to be enough.
I'll tell you right now in the SWAC conference, who does not like instant replay, Henry Frazier.
Yeah,
he's getting ready to go 0 for 3 if they confirm this touchdown, which I really do think they should. I mean, he had possession of it, then the ball hit the ground, as you said. Even though the ball hit the ground, he still had it.
Right, and it looked like the ball, it's hard to see if that ball ever hit the ground. It looked like it moved, but it was on his body.
Well, if it counts, it'll be Carlock's 2nd touchdown of the night. This is the one angle that I think might favor Prairie View a little bit.
There's the ball, and it's moving, but does it ever touch the ground? You can't ever see the ball touch the ground. It can move on his body, and he can regain possession of it, and it never touches the ground. So he possesses the football. Wow, but
if it's overturned, it's going to be 3rd down and 10.
And to me now, if he was going out of bounds and the ball moved and his body's out of bounds, well, then the play would be dead. But he's still in the field of play. That's just like if the ball bobbles anywhere else, you can still catch the ball.
All right. Anthony Johnson, the most watched man in the stadium right now.
After further review, the receiver didn't maintain possession of the ball. The ball, he fell to the ground. It will be third down at the 23-yard line. Alabama A&M.
All right. So take the 6 off the board. It remains 30-21.
Well, it was indisputable to somebody. That's for sure.
Well, this is where I thought that Alabama A&M might have been in trouble when that ball squirted toward his pants instead of hanging into his hands.
You quiet, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like what you said. There was nothing, indisputable about that. When it was called a touchdown on the field, it should have remained a touchdown, I believe. And I'm just saying, if a receiver's got his hands underneath the ball, when he hits the ground, if the ball moves a little bit, I mean, Mother Nature's not going to lose. The ball's going to move naturally.
To me, I never saw the ball clearly touch the ground.
Well, it's not nice to fool with Mother Nature, you know that. All right, let's take another look here, because this is a huge play, obviously. We've zoomed in extra specially.
Extra special.
And,
arms.
They may have got that one right, man. We might have to agree to disagree on
with
that.
That zoom is something else. I agree now with the zoom.
Sliding grab made, and that should be a first down. That's a terrific catch by Thomas Harris. And based on where one of the officials is standing, he did get enough for the first down by a couple of feet.
And why was that pass completed? Because of the mobility by Mason, just to buy some more time. Wasn't there. Initial drop back read not there. Rolled out to the right, bought some time, allowed Harris those extra seconds to spring away from the defender.
It is a first down. Clock now to 5 minutes left in the SWAC championship. Mason's got a lot of room to his left if he wants. He'll go to the back of the end zone. And in Canada, that's a touchdown, but not in Birmingham. So it's going to be second down and 10.
Prairie View's dropping so many guys deep in coverage. If it's not there right away, there's a lot of room for Mason to run the ball. He's doing a good job of trying to find the guys down the field, but he can't take away his biggest asset, and that's creating with his legs. And if there's opportunity to run the ball, gain positive yards, he needs to do that.
Pressure coming from his left, and he'll throw it away toward the cheerleaders. Third down and 10.
With these deep safeties by Prairie View A&M, I think they're wide open to some type of middle screen. Slide in one of those wide receivers. The defensive line is trying to get to the quarterback with the 4-man rush. If they can get somebody in the middle of the field, just similar to where Tommy Harris caught that last pass, it's wide open. Linebackers are dropping deep, and the safeties are deep.
If you do not get the first down here, do you kick the field goal, knowing that you have to score twice, or try to kick a field goal? Got to score twice to win?
Absolutely. You got to kick the field goal here.
Ooh,
and then
depends. What if you 4th and 1? I think you go.
Well, I mean, depending on the situation, of course. But I think if they don't get the first down and not close to it, you've got to kick the field goal.
They better get the snap off. And they managed to avoid the delay of game penalty. And Mason has been so good at running out of trouble. He ran into it that time and was dumped at the 16-yard line. Devin Boyd got him. And here does come Jeremy Lyceum and the field goal team. It'll be about a 33-yarder. That made it a no-brainer decision for the coaching staff. To the all-time points leader in Bulldogs history, maybe the biggest field goal of his career here to make it a one-score game. No problem. Now, with 4:02 to go, is it time for the onside kick since you have no timeouts?
No, I think you kick it away and you play defense. You put the burden on your defense now to bow up and make a stop.
We'll see. This week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, the top team in the NFC West, Arizona, led by Larry Fitzgerald, taking on San Francisco. Can Frank Gore lead the 49ers to a win against their division rivals? Find out when the Cardinals take on the 49ers on ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins with a Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's at 7 Eastern. I think you guys are logical, but this game at times has defied logic.
Right, but you don't want an onside kick here. Give Prairie View excellent field position. And then if they go down and they kick a field goal, well, now you're back in the same situation you were in. I think you kick it away, you play good defense, hope that your defense can get a 3 and out, and then you can get the ball back for your guys.
But as they line up, Prairie View is anticipating the onside kick, which is the smart way to do it. You have to be ready for that. And that sure looks like an onside kick formation. Michael Benson's all by himself at the 24-yard line. Of course, this could just be an elaborate ruse also. And the answer is, it's a deep kick to Benson at the 12. And he's cut down to the 20-yard line. Good job by the coverage team. So a long way to go.
And a great job by the coverage team of maintaining leverage, not letting him get to the outside. He wanted to try to get to the corner, but the contained man did a great job staying outside, forcing him to come back to the field and be tackled.
One big key so far for Prairie View today, and one of the reasons they have this lead is the job they have done on Jeremy Maddox. #1 in the FCS in sacks. He has a dozen, averages more than 1 per game. He doesn't have a sack today.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to have very many more opportunities because Prairie View needs to run the ball here, keep the clock moving, because Alabama A&M doesn't have any timeouts left. They can't stop the clock. So you want to try to run the ball here and see if you can get some first down.
Prairie View's been 5 for 5 on 3rd downs too. If they should hang on to win this game, that's a key stat. Right now they've got to watch Babers. They got to find him, and they do here. He only gets 1 yard. Again, the Bulldogs cannot stop the clock. We mentioned Maddox, guys. Let's not forget that Jermaine Bluford, the starting right tackle, got kicked out of the game in the first quarter for a flagrant foul, basically, a chop block after the play was over. So James Blanton, who had been a starter, and Jay, when you talked to Henry Frazier, he said, look, it's going to be up to a guy who's played for me before.
Yeah, and you know, and surprisingly, you know, I asked him off camera, I said, well, he was a starter. Obviously, he's no longer the starter, so you are going down a little bit. He said, kind of, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. And I give him credit. I thought he was in trouble. He played pretty well the second half.
He played well. We've not said Maddox's name once, and no sacks. And remember, they had a lot of confidence that their guys could block him anyway.
Well, Babers trying to get to the edge. Can he do it and get the first down? He does. He'll get a first down to the 37-yard line with 3:02 to go.
Big run right there. I mean, they got that done against an 8-man box. And he was able to bounce outside. We talked about his size. He's hard to find when you've got those big offensive linemen in front of him. I mean, look at this. You're on the field. You're trying to find him. We've got zoom lenses, but imagine if you're down there looking for him.
And the only thing, does a good job staying in bounds, but you want to make sure that you stay in bounds. You don't want to go out of bounds. Your Prairie View in this situation, you want that clock to continue to run at all costs.
Under 2:45. Just playing it straight, couple of yards there, nothing fancy. Nothing the Bulldogs can do about it.
Nope. Prairie View, take your time, use all the play clock. If they can get another first down, this game is over.
All because they went through 3 timeouts in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah. And with all that time waiting for plays, too, coming in from the sidelines in a couple of cases, that's what surprises me. We're down to 2 minutes now. Babers. And he's in some deep trouble, and his double team actually loses a couple of yards. You saw Vernon Marshall, number 6, in there to help with the tackle. But as they started the play clock, so you could take this almost down to 1 minute before the snap. Yeah.
Right. And then after this play, you can take it all. If you don't get the first down, you take it down to about 30 seconds or so, if not less. So you don't leave a lot of time on the clock for Alabama A&M, even if you do kick the ball to them.
as tempting as it is to throw the football, go for the first, you've got to be smart. You've got to work the numbers.
And if anything here, you roll the quarterback out, you know, and buy some more time and get him on the edge and let him run the ball.
Playing it safe. It'll be 4th down. And Prairie View now. 55 seconds remaining. They have not won a SWAC championship since 1964.
They can run it all the way down to about 25 seconds left now.
They've got 16 seconds of difference between the play clock and the game clock.
And now if you're Alabama A&M, you got to sell out and go for the punt block.
Yes.
What about taking a safety?
Too far to run back.
Too far to run back?
Too far to run back.
Too dangerous?
They catch up to him and knock the ball out.
Ventura, by the way, has had 5 punts blocked this year.
Well, it'll come down to this. You can win a championship if you can get a punt away pretty much. And
so 16 seconds, or actually 15. I think it should be 16 on the play clock. Or the game clock, pardon me. The play clock was stopped. That's the last timeout available in this game. So can they protect Pedro Ventura?
And what you tell your punter right here is you just catch it and kick it. One step, get that ball away. It doesn't matter how far it is. Just get that ball out of there. The snap catch, and remember, it's been raining, it's wet, it's cold, so it's not as easy as it sounds.
What's at stake here besides the SWAC championship? Possibly the Black College championship. That's a poll. South Carolina State could get it, or it could go to Prairie View. 10 on the line. Good snap. Contain the return is the next for Prairie View. That's Harris. And he's dangerous.
Whoa, he's got a block.
Oh, he's got a big block to the 50 and tackle at the 46-yard line with 2 seconds remaining.
One man left.
One man.
Michael Jason should be the first guy to wear that belt if Prairie View wins, because he's the one who made the tackle.
I mean, the wall was there. It was set up. One to beat. Look at the wipeout block coming over here.
And one more, too.
Right here.
Right.
Wham.
Yeah. And then there's one guy. If they can just get that block.
He outran him. You want to tell him just slow down a little bit. Give him a dead leg step and let him go by you. But adrenaline was pumping.
So the SWAC championship will come down to a Hail Mary. And here you always have to be concerned about an interference penalty on the defense, as well as, of course, the crazy bounces. Here we go for the SWAC championship. Everything he has into one last throw. It's going to be short of the end zone, and Prairie View has won their first championship since 1964. The turnaround is complete.
What do we say, JC? That Prairie View.
That Prairie View.
It's a new Prairie View. It's a champion Prairie View, and they win the SWAC, the Eddie Robinson Trophy, and quite possibly the Black College Football Championship. Our final, 30-24 Prairie View. Coming up next on ESPN Classic, more college football. 2008 Bedlam, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and Stillwater. For JC and Jay and our entire crew, I'm Dave Lamont. So long from Birmingham.
You are looking live at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where the Bedlam Series wraps up the Big 12 regular season on Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. So